Chapter 140. Okay, I'm done. Is there anyone else who has questions? Lynch crossed his arms in front of his chest. As soon as he finished speaking, more than a dozen people went berserk and shouted angrily. Why do you want us to hand over our soul rings? Your request is too much. When I dominated the spiritual state, you were still playing in the mud. You're just a coward. Yeah, we're your seniors after all. Young man, don't be too overbearing. Who knows when the tables will turn? You're not qualified to take all of us down. Before the few heaven-dipper sovereigns who flaunted their seniority could finish their words, Lin Chen's lips curled into a cold smile. He pushed his palm across the void, and more than a dozen gray runes fell from the sky. Host activated level 2 slow rune. 80,000 rune energy consumed. At this time, the cultivation of the Heaven Dipper realm powerhouses was sealed. To delay their movements, the level 2 sluggish rune only needed 80,000 points of rune energy to spare. Before they could react, Lin Shun threw 10 incandescent aurora stones at them. As the lights shone brightly, all the cultivators were terrified and ran away immediately. Bang! 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 Every wave of explosion caused by the aurora reflected the fear of many Heaven Star border realm cultivators. This kid actually has a secret technique that can slow down the transformation of the opponent's battle aura. It's too scary. How many trump cards does he have? After the explosion ended, the Heaven Star border realm cultivators who flaunted their seniority were left with a few bones on the ground and a bunch of secret manuals and elixirs dropped from their soul rings. Lin Shun was not in a hurry to pick up the scattered attribute light balls. Instead, he asked seriously, "Okay, who else has questions now?" Seeing Lin Chen's calm expression, many Heaven Star border realm cultivators felt troubled from the bottom of their hearts. Ruthless. A truly peerless, ruthless person. Decisive, sharp, and straightforward in killing without any hesitation. Is this kid really only 17 years old? Is he not an old monster who possessed a young man's body? Every action of his could not be measured by common sense. It completely subverted everyone's understanding. Now, what everyone was really worried about was that even after they handed over the spirit rings, Lin Shin still wouldn't let them go. Because in this temple, it was the best place for him to kill everyone present. His strength wouldn't be restricted too much here. All right. Now, if anyone has any questions, if not, I'll leave it to you. I repeat what I said just now. The men stand on the right and the women on the left. Those who were neither male nor female were lying on the ground. Those who were handsome stood in the middle. Those who were dressed in women's clothing stood in front. Those who weren't dressed in women's clothing retreated to the back. Then, hand over your storage rings. Lin Chen's actions showed that he was determined to offend everyone. Let this old woman say something fair. At this moment, the gray-clothed old woman from the Sun Temple walked out and smiled kindly at Lin Chen. Why don't we both take a step back? For those who took the black and white universe fruits, we will hand over something of equal value to you, Lin Chen. What do you think? As soon as she finished speaking, the old woman secretly transmitted her voice to Lin Chen and the other two. Little friend Lin Chen, two ladies. Most of the experts heading to the Divine Palace are here for the black and white heaven fruit. If you rob all of them, it's the same as taking their lives. Without a doubt, they will fight you to the death. This old woman admits that with your current strength, you might be able to kill all of them. However, there's also a possibility that you might die under their final attack. This isn't a warning, it's advice. The gray-clothed old woman's tone was sincere, and Lin Shun understood her meaning. I agree with her. Little brother Lin Shun, don't push them too far. Many of these guys are from the spiritual state. They must have trump cards to save their lives in the temple. If you push them too far, both of us will suffer. Even if you have an ancient azure dragon. This time, even by Ruoyan had spoken. Lin Shun glanced at the experts in the crowd. Although most of them were looking at him in fear, there were only a few sects that still retained their unswerving determination or cold fighting spirit. Okay, since Sister Ruoyan has spoken, I will take a step back. Lin Chen's expression changed faster than flipping a book. He immediately said with a smile, "Okay, I agree with this old senior's condition. How many black and white universe fruits each of you took, you must hand over something of equal value. I promise with my character that I will not pester you anymore. What kind of character do you have? Many experts cursed in their hearts. However, they heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Lin Chen give in. Don't try to hide it from me. I remember clearly who took the black and white universe fruits and how many you took. If anyone is dishonest, I will immediately let him feel the power of the Aurora Stone. The corners of the master's mouths twitched. The gray-robed old woman smiled. Since this old woman is the first to make this suggestion, let my son Temple take the lead. Little friend, take it. The gray-robed old woman took out 3 treasures from her storage ring. There was the ice attribute weapon, Ice Phoenix 3-feather arrow, the heavenly treasure, Yin Yang heavenly origin pearl, and a bottle of supreme grade bone sculpting pill, which had a miraculous effect on body refining martial artists. Lin Chen suddenly felt a little strange. He didn't seem to have any friendship with this old woman. Why was she so straightforward? As if seeing Lin Chen's confusion, the gray-robed old woman pretended to smile mysteriously. Young man, don't be confused. Just take it as a dowry for my disciple in advance. Huh? Dowry? Lin Chen had a dumbfounded look on his face. He only saw the beautiful woman in the long dress in the other party's team blushing slightly. Master, don't talk nonsense. Yin Manqing's face was red. Seeing the man of her dreams staring at her, although she was shy, she still gracefully bowed. I am Yun Manqing, the eldest disciple of the Sun Temple. Greetings to Prince Lin Chen. Hello, hello. Lin Chen was dumbfounded. Beside him, Buyer Oyan said with a smile that wasn't a smile. Little brother Lin Chen, your charm is quite big. Lin Chen, who didn't understand, pretended to sigh and said, Sigh, I can't help it. Other than being handsome, I really don't have any good points. Sometimes I'm also very annoyed. Buyer Oyan held back her laughter. Lung Yuechi chose not to hear it. This shameless appearance fell into Yun Manqing's eyes, but she felt that he was so unique and different from other men. Since the old senior is so straightforward, I won't be polite. Lin Chen took the gray-robed old woman's 3 treasures and then shouted towards the Heaven Dipper Realm crowd. Next, don't think about escaping. I'll blow up whoever escapes. The Heaven Dipper Realm experts held back their anger and began an unprecedented handing over of treasures. What green top-grade secret manuals, rare heavenly and earthly treasures, top-grade spirit pills and miraculous medicines, high-grade weapons that shook the 24 regions, high-grade pill furnaces, high-grade pill recipes, everything that one could think of. Lin Chen's foundation became unprecedentedly rich in this wave of robbery. Chapter 141. A 5th-level Earth Realm martial artist actually robbed a few hundred Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists? If this was spread back to the 24 regions, everyone would be shocked. If this was spread back to the college, and everyone knew that I robbed a few hundred Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists, I wonder what kind of expression they would have. Looking at the few spirit storage rings that were filled to the brim, Lin Qingshun snickered in his heart. After robbing all 4 martial artists, Lin Chen took away the attribute light balls dropped by the fallen Heaven Dipper Realm martial artists. His Earth Realm cultivation stopped at the peak of the 5th level, and his flesh shell's strength stopped at 990,000 Tiger Force. Other than that, Lin Chen realized that his ancient Azure Dragon could also cultivate. Just like the bottomless pit, it wouldn't reject any treasure and could swallow everything with its dragon mouth. Lin Chen gave all the spirit treasures that he robbed to the ancient Azure Dragon. It didn't reject anything and swallowed everything, making Lin Chen ecstatic. In the future, it would be the same as having a super strong bodyguard that could grow together with him. Of course, Lin Chen knew that he had already provoked many factions and elite experts during this trip to the Divine Palace. Some of the older generation experts who didn't want to admit defeat already had the intention to kill Lin Chen. As long as he left the Divine Palace, they would find trouble with him at any time. Lin Chen wasn't worried about this at all. He would deal with whatever came his way. Some people have already left this Divine Palace. They seemed to have discovered the secret passage to the next divine palace. Lung Yuechi said anxiously. According to the records, the next divine palace might be hiding the target of her trip, the nine-heart ice lotus. Lin Shun could see Lung Yuechi's anxiousness and nodded. Then let's go. With our current strength, we will have the advantage if there are any treasures. The ancient azure dragon returned to his body. Lin Chun expanded the purple phoenix wings. After breaking through, his battle chi was sufficient and could fly as he wished. Activating the purple gold pupils, the next divine palace's secret passage entrance was at the edge of the black and white universe tree. 15 minutes later, the third divine palace was also the final destination of the entire divine palace. As soon as Lin Shun and the others stepped into the temple, they could feel a suffocating change in temperature. Numerous small volcanoes were standing there, and lava streams were flowing around them, causing the space to distort. If one didn't have a strong physique, he or she would have to circulate his or her battle chi to resist the scorching heat. An ordinary 9th-level Earth Realm martial artist might not even be able to last 15 minutes. If it wasn't for the fact that those who entered were all at the Tiangang realm, and that their mental cultivation methods and battle chi foundations were far from what ordinary Disha realm cultivators could compare with, they would have long been turned into roasted suckling pigs. When Lin Shen arrived here, he found that all the heavenly Dipper realm stopped in place. Even if they were roasted by the fire, they did not dare to act rashly. There are powerful beasts guarding the volcano. They are two big guys, genuine class 5 dire beasts. Lin Shen activated the purple lightning realm of his purple gold eyes and saw through the secrets hidden within the volcano. No wonder these old men are waiting for me. With their strength, it is as difficult as ascending to the heavens for them to resist the heat and break through the defense of 2 class 5 dire beasts. After Lin Chun saw through the essence of the problem, his lips curled into a sneer. He didn't expose them directly as they needed each other's strength to work together. This is the Ice-Fire Divine Palace. Legend has it that it was formed by an ancient almighty's personal weapon after it was damaged. The exit of the entire Divine Palace is between the iceberg and the volcano. The old man held a fan and had a long beard and white hair. He turned to look at Lin Shun. Young friend, let's get straight to the point. This time, we need each other's strength to break through. Otherwise, all of us will have to die here, right? Who knew that Lin Shun didn't even bother with this old man and released the ancient azure dragon? I don't need your strength. Do you think I don't know what kind of old foxes you are? Lin Shun smiled casually. Then he rode the ancient azure dragon and charged into the volcano range with the 2 women. At this time, the ancient azure dragon was absorbing part of the treasures and high-grade elixirs that Lin Shun had robbed. Its body was close to 800 feet and was still growing. Many experts turned to look at him. Their shock was filled with doubt. What kind of azure dragon is this? It is still growing stronger. Its growth speed is as abnormal as Lin Shen's. However, they didn't have time to think and be puzzled. Seeing Lin Shen move, all the Heaven Dipper realm experts tacitly used all kinds of movement techniques. This was the last stage of the Divine Palace. They didn't need to hide their trump cards. The ancient azure dragon's claws tore through the mountains and destroyed everything in its way as it moved forward rapidly. In less than 10 breaths, the ancient azure dragon let out 2 roars that tore the sky apart and shook the mountains. Lava tumbled and formed pillars of fire that shot up to the sky. Between a few thousand feet tall mountains, 2 colossal creatures appeared. They crawled on the ground with 4 limbs. Their tails were as thick as pillars, their heads were like crocodiles, and their scales were like soft armor. There was a flame crystal-like object on their backs that was transparent and dazzling. Their bloodthirsty red pupils were filled with ruthless light. It's 2 level 5 blazing lava lizards. They're fighting on their home ground and can control the lava. Be careful. Bai Ruan saw through the details of the 2 ferocious beasts. Lin Shen nodded and looked at the highest volcano. In the highest volcano, there was a 5-petaled red flower floating in the air. It was beautiful and deadly, emitting suffocating heat. The blazing mandala is a treasure born together with a 9-heart ice lotus. Lung Yuechi said excitedly. This blazing mandala indirectly proved that the 9-heart ice lotus that she had been searching for was in this divine palace. I want this thing. I will let the ancient azure dragon entangle one of the blazing lava lizards. You guys wait for an opportunity to break through these volcanoes. Lin Shun spread his flaming purple phoenix wings to the maximum. Lin Shun turned into a stream of purple flames and flew toward the highest volcano. Roar! The ancient azure dragon roared angrily and leaped into the air. Its dragon claws tore through the mountains and rivers. It grabbed a blazing lava lizard and flipped it over. It was in so much pain that it roared hoarsely. With a sweep of its dragon tail, it hit the head of the blazing lava lizard that had fallen to the ground. A gust of wind blew, and the blazing lava lizard's head was broken and bleeding. This ancient azure dragon seemed to have some of Lin Chen's battle consciousness. It was rather straightforward and ruthless in battle. Moreover, it was still in the process of becoming stronger. The blazing lava lizard that was also a level 5 blazing lava lizard was no match for it. The other blazing lava lizard's attention was attracted by Lin Shun. When it saw that Lin Shun actually dared to approach the blazing mandala that it had been guarding for 1,000 years, it leaped up with its mountain-like body, causing lava to scatter in all directions. A flaming storm swept across. Damn it, it's coming for me. Lin Shen's flaming purple phoenix wings turned in the air and changed direction rapidly, causing the other party to pounce on empty air. Lin Shen narrowly avoided that abyss-like bloody mouth. This level 5 ferocious beast was comparable to a genuine Heaven Dipper realm expert. With Lin Chen's current strength, even if he could fight, he would only give the other party some superficial wounds. He didn't intend to do something that didn't benefit him at all. Chapter 142. The blazing lava lizard swept its tail, and a strong gust of wind came slashing over like blades. The purple phoenix wings flapped again and retreated even further. At this moment, Lin Shen realized that the older generation of Heaven Dipper realm experts had actually made use of the time when he and the ancient azure dragon were entangled with the blazing lava lizard to rush to the exit at the end of the volcano. As long as they entered the spatial vortex at the end of the volcano, they would be teleported out of the shrine. Good heavens, this bunch of bastards are planning to sell me. Lin Shen, trying to trick me? Dream on. Lin Shun sneered in his heart. Light swirled around his palms. Lightning flashed on his left hand, and white light flashed on his right hand. The purple phoenix wings flapped rapidly again. After dodging the blazing lava lizard's second attack and its flame breath, he suddenly executed the two ultimate skills, one light and one thunder, at the same time. Host consumed 50,000 rune energy points to activate level 2 recharge rune. Battle technique attack power increased by 240%. Recharge rune, thunder explosion, fury of light. Suddenly, he pushed his palms out horizontally. Two energy hand seals, one of light and one of lightning, shot out. As they flew, they rapidly expanded to a size of 1,000 zhong, containing the power to sweep across the great wilderness and overturn rivers and seas. They were aimed at the blazing lava lizard's eyes. Bang, bang, boom. An earth-shattering explosion set off surging heat waves. Lin Shen's attack hit the weakest point of the opponent's defense. SSS. In the energy storm, the blazing lava lizard's entire body pounced out furiously. Lin Chun quickly retreated with the purple phoenix wings. At this moment, the blazing lava lizard's head had two big holes. One of its eyeballs was missing, and only half of its pupil was left. It looked extremely miserable. Its hatred for Lin Chun was unprecedented. Lin Chun lured it all the way to the spatial vortex at the end of the volcano group. With a spin of the purple phoenix wings, Lin Chun purposely lowered his flying height and dove into the crowd of Heaven Dipper realm experts who were trying to rush into the spatial vortex. The blazing lava lizard was instantly enraged. Its ferocious claws swept across like a gust of wind, hitting a few Heaven Dipper realm experts consecutively. The blazing lava lizard smashed the ground, and streams of lava burst out from the ground, attacking the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators. This brat has attracted the blazing lava lizard over. Be careful. This blazing lava lizard is infuriated. What a treacherous brat. He actually wants to drag us down with him, even at the last moment. These Heaven Dipper realm cultivators were complaining incessantly. If they were in the outside world, they wouldn't be afraid, even if there were 10 blazing lava lizards. However, in this place, the slightest carelessness would cost them their lives. Obviously, the blazing lava lizard had taken these humans as Lin Chen's accomplices. In addition, more than half of its eyes had been destroyed by Lin Chen. Thus, its vision was obstructed. After Lin Chen lured the blazing lava lizard over, he flew back to the volcano from before. Just as Lin Chen was about to return to retrieve the blazing Dachira, he realized that 4 teams had rushed up the volcano. He was about to snatch away the blazing Dachira that he had set his eyes on. First, you sold me to attract the blazing lava lizards, and now you're picking up a ready-made one. You bunch of cunning fools. See how I'll deal with you this time. He clenched his fist, and a black glow appeared. The abyss spear was like a dragon that was born. The rolling and profound aura even stunned Lin Chen. What's going on? Lin Chen was dumbfounded as he carefully sized up the abyss spear in his hand. At this moment, the abyss spear's lethality had increased tremendously. Lin Chen even had a feeling that he couldn't hold it in his hand anymore. Even without activating his purple golden eyes, he could clearly see that the abyss spear had broken through the 4th grade and was now a 5th grade weapon. There's no time to investigate this secret now. Let's kill these old bastards first. After channeling a wisp of dark battle chi, the abyss spear immediately calmed down. With the spear in his hand, Lin Chen swooped down to the highest volcano with the purple phoenix wings. Dark Devour. The dark abyss spear cut open a curtain of darkness, and the tip of the spear swirled with a dark shadow. When the force of 990,000 tigers erupted, it furiously swept toward the closest team to the blazing Mandara volcano, splitting open a chasm in the middle of the volcano. It's Lin Chen. I didn't expect him to be able to lure that blazing lava lizard away so quickly. His phoenix wing's speed has increased again. Fight! We're already close to the teleportation exit. There's no need to hold back anymore. The ancient Azure Dragon isn't by his side. Let's kill him in one go. Rip! Even if the Abyss Spear's grade had reached the 5th grade, Lin Chen's attack still couldn't shake the opponent. In an instant, it was defeated by the opponent in just a few moves. The 6 veteran Heaven Star Border Realm experts weren't ordinary people either. They could see Lin Chen's current trend and weren't afraid of him at all. Surround him. Don't let him use the incandescent Aurora Stone. Saber Chi tore through the void like dragons. 3 Saber Chis were more than 10 feet wide and sealed off Lin Chen's escape routes. The other 5 Heaven Star Border Realm experts attacked at the same time. The space fluctuated and flower-like sword Chis bloomed in the sky, cutting through the void and surrounding the space above Lin Chen's head. A golden fist mark flickered with dazzling radiance. It was domineering and attacked from below Lin Chen. The meteor-like finger light flicked open the ripples in the void. Various ultimate techniques were aimed at Lin Chen's head. I don't even need to use my characteristic runes to deal with this kind of attack. Lin Chen sneered and waved the Abyss Spear with both hands. The spear's edge danced wildly, forming a pitch-black and deep dark elemental battle chi that formed a barrier. All the ultimate techniques were annihilated into nothingness by the dark elemental battle chi the moment they were launched. It felt as though all the attacks were thrown into a bottomless abyss, and all traces of them disappeared. What? Our attacks were devoured? A rare dark elemental battle chi. What a strange cultivation technique. This is my first time seeing such a strange usage of battle chi. Before the Heaven Star Border Realm experts could distance themselves, the dark elemental barrier suddenly trembled and instantly shrunk into a black line on the Abyss Spear. I'll return these attacks to you. Lin Shun held the spear with both hands and swept it across the sky. The dark elemental battle chi that filled the void surged out like a heaven-splitting wave. Host activated level 2 corrosion rune. 60,000 rune energy points have been consumed. The dark waterfall struck 6 Heaven Star Border Realm experts. Their battle chi defense was instantly broken, and their life-saving weapons were shattered. 2 of them died on the spot. As for the remaining 4, their battle chi was rapidly corroded because of the corrosion rune. In this space where spiritual energy was depleted, they still had to rely on their battle chi to withstand the high temperature of the lava volcano. Once their battle chi was corroded, they would fall into an endless cycle of suicide. Lin Shen didn't have time to tangle with them. He didn't even pick up the attribute light balls for the time being. He rushed to the peak of the mountain. At this moment, the 3 teams standing at the mouth of the volcano had just arrived. The 3 teams had a total of 22 people. 2 of them were from the spiritual state and had a strong foundation. At this moment, they weren't afraid of Lin Shun, who had just returned. You wanted me to lure away the 2 blazing lava lizards while you guys reap the fruits of my labor. You guys are really good at scheming. Lin Shun stepped into the air and smiled casually. A trace of sharp killing intent flashed across his eyes. Chapter 143. The blazing mandala flower is something our palace master wants. Lin Shen, stand aside if you know what's good for you. We'll take it. Now that the space vortex to leave the godly palace was right in front of them, the other party no longer pretended to be weak. A Heavenly Star Realm team from the spiritual state announced indifferently. This kid doesn't have the ancient Azure Dragon by his side. We don't have to be afraid of him. Guys from the mythical Fire Palace, if you join forces with us, we'll take the blazing mandala flower. We can give up on the blazing mandala flower, but we'll take a share of the black and white universe fruits on this kid. Then I'll take the part that this kid just robbed. Damn it, I've hated him for a long time. These 3 teams actually hit it off and temporarily locked on a Lin Shun as their target. Lin Shun was able to suppress them earlier because he had the protection of the ancient Azure Dragon, which could unleash the full power of the blazing Aurora Stone. However, without the ancient Azure Dragon, these 22 people were confident that they could turn the tables and kill Lin Shun before he threw out the blazing Aurora Stone. It seems that you guys are very confident. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Shen's lips suddenly curled into a devilish smile. System, I'm going to activate the level 2 slow rune to suppress these old bastards. Host consumed 250,000 runes of energy to activate the level 2 slow rune. Boom! Before they could react, a grayish-white rune suddenly appeared right above the crater of the volcano. The aura from the rune seemed to contain a mysterious power that could last for thousands of years. A level 2 slow rune with 250,000 runes of energy. This rune was enough to slow down the battle providence of dozens of Heavenly Star Realm experts in the Godly Palace for a few breaths. The grayish-white rune disappeared in a flash. All the Heavenly Star Realm experts' battle providence was now as slow as a tortoise. It took them more than 100 times longer to activate a combat technique. At this moment, Lin Shen's purple phoenix wings flapped furiously. He snatched the blazing mandala flower floating above the crater of the volcano and threw a soul acceptance ring at the crater. The soul acceptance ring shone brightly, and the white light it emitted was the energy of the Aurora Stone. I'll blow you guys up. Boom! Rumble. The entire temple trembled fiercely for a few times. The earth quaked and the mountains swayed. It was as if the raging waves of the sea had overturned the archipelago. A storm of flames that was thousands of feet high raged and raged. Hundreds and thousands of streams of lava shot out of the firestorm like a meteor shower, and a mushroom cloud of burning flames slowly rose into the sky. This earth-shattering explosion shocked many Heaven Dipper realm to flee, for fear of being swept into the flame storm or smashed by the lava fire stream thrown out by the flame storm. What did this little guy do to cause such a huge commotion? Byron, who had just passed through the flaming mountains, exclaimed in surprise. This power was comparable to the full power attack of a Heaven Dipper realm first-layer martial artist. Far away from the volcano, Lin Shun floated in the air, overlooking the situation below. When he activated his purple gold eyes, he discovered that there were still 7 people fleeing. With 50 incandescent aurora stones exploding at the same time, 7 of them survived even with the help of the rune of deceleration. No wonder they are masters from the spiritual state. Lin Shun gave up the chase and turned to collect the attribute light balls and treasure chests scattered around. Host has received 13 million battle aura essence, 21 million chi and blood, 11,000 spiritual energy. Host has opened a mithril treasure chest. Host has received a bottle of level 5 intermediate elixir, jade blood marrow cleansing elixir. Host has opened a mithril treasure chest. Host has received 200,000 rune energy. Host has received 400,000 light energy, 710,000 fire energy, 660,000 metal energy, and 320,000 water energy. Lin Shun turned into an afterimage on the battlefield and collected a large number of attribute light balls. Suddenly, he saw a treasure chest brimming with dazzling golden light. The light was unprecedentedly bright, reflecting a golden ocean. Subconsciously swallowing his saliva, Lin Shun raised his hand and opened the treasure chest. Host has opened a pure gold treasure chest. Congratulations on obtaining a level 5 elixir, True Dragon Soul Refining Elixir. The medicinal properties of this elixir made even Lin Shun, who was an alchemist, feel his scalp tingle. It was another body refining elixir. The value of this item was hard to estimate. Hurry up and keep it. A level 5 elixir is like a bomb to the current me. If I recklessly consume it, I will be courting death. After keeping the True Dragon Soul Refining Elixir, Lin Shun continued to collect the attribute light balls. After spending close to 15 minutes, he had almost collected all the attribute light balls dropped by the fallen Heaven Dipper realm experts. Host has broken through to the 6th level of the Earth realm. Following the system's notification, the 9-colored battle soul in Lin Shun's Dantian already had 6 revolving heaven rivers, which symbolized the 6th level of the Earth realm. Right now, the battle was gradually coming to an end. The ancient Azure Dragon paid the price of minor injuries and completely tore apart one of the blazing lava lizards. The other blazing lava lizard had also fallen under the counterattack of the Heaven Dipper realm experts. It was obvious that at the final juncture of the Divine Hall, many experts didn't hold back and brazenly counterattacked. Even if they were only at the 9th level of the Earth realm, they were still able to eliminate the blazing lava lizards that had lost their eyes. Lin Shun skimmed across the sky and landed at the end of the lava mountains. Right now, the Heaven Dipper realm experts had already left this godforsaken place. Almost none of them were willing to stay behind. No expert was willing to stay in a place where they could be trampled on. At the end of the blazing lava mountains, it was a land of ice and snow. Large snowflakes were fluttering down. Lin Shun and the 2 ladies were standing in the snow that was ravaged by the cold storm. Lin Shun had just used his purple gold pupils to scan the terrain of the glacier snow mountain when he heard a voice from behind. Wait a moment. Lin Shun. 5 individuals from the Sun Saint Hall appeared behind Lin Shun. The gray-robed old lady who was leading the group called out to Lin Shun. Oh, Senior hasn't left yet? May I ask what advice you have for me? Lin Shun turned around and cupped his hands in a rather courteous manner. Lin Shun, you've offended so many experts. After leaving the mystery realm, you'll definitely be in a lot of trouble. Although your strength is extraordinary, you don't belong to any sect or faction. If you don't have a good place to go, you can come to the Sun Saint Hall of the Spirit State. We'll definitely give you the best treatment and help you deal with those who cause you trouble. Little friend, do you want to consider it? The gray-robed old lady's tone was courteous, She took out a token with a sun symbol engraved on it and handed it to Lin Shun. Behind her, Ling Ziki and Yun Manxing both looked at Lin Shun expectantly. So Senior is here to recruit talents. Lin Shun suddenly understood. However, Bai Ruoyan's voice transmission entered Lin Shen's ears. Little brother Lin Shun, after leaving the mystery realm, I may enter a long period of seclusion. At that time, no one will be able to protect you. You've offended many veteran Heaven Star Realm cultivators in the 24 domains. It's a good choice to have a good relationship with the Sun Saint Hall. Even Bai Ruoyan suggested this to Lin Shun. He smiled casually and took the token. Since Senior is so generous, I'll definitely visit the Sun Saint Hall when I'm free. Seeing Lin Shun take the token, Yin Manxing's face lit up. She mustered up her courage and walked out. Young master style is unparalleled throughout history. Manxing admires you. If young master can come to the Sun Saint Hall, Manxing will definitely treat young master as a guest and drink the hall's sacred tea. Drink tea? No, another day. Lin Shen's reply confused the others. They didn't invite him to drink tea now. Another day? Another day. Chapter 144. After bidding farewell to the people of the Holy Sun Temple, when Lin Shun turned his head again, Lung Yuechi was long gone. Where's my mentor, Lung? You're busy with your little beauty. Your beautiful mentor can't wait to break in. Bai Ruoyan covered her mouth and chuckled. Lin Shun slapped his thigh. Oh my god, I forgot to tell Mentor Lung that there are 2 Class 5 dire beasts inside. In the center of the snow glacier, an ice pool reflected a faint cold light. The temperature here was extremely cold, but the water in the ice pool was not frozen. It only emitted a faint cold air, condensing into mist and rising into the air. Every wisp of mist flowed into the lotus in the center of the ice pool. The lotus was snow white, and the lotus seat was like a palm. It had 14 petals and 9 hearts. The heart of the lotus was like a pearl under the night sky, shining with a unique light. 9 hearts ice lotus. It's really a treasure of heaven and earth that's a twin of the blazing mandala. Lung Yuechi crossed an ice mountain and looked down at the situation in the ice pool. When she saw the 9 hearts ice lotus, she, who was always cold, couldn't help but show excitement and anticipation. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the snow on the ground suddenly split open, and the earth's crust shifted. A crystal-clear scorpion tail suddenly pierced toward the peak of the mountain where Lung Yuechi was. A dire beast? With the ice bow in her hand, Lung Yuechi was about to counterattack. A domineering dragon roared and bit the scorpion tail. The dragon's body rolled and crushed the entire mountain. A stream of purple flame flew through the void and took Lung Yuechi away before the mountain collapsed. The ancient azure dragon bit the crystal-clear scorpion tail, and the dragon's claws broke the poisonous barb. As the dragon's body rolled, it pulled out the huge monster hidden in the snow. It was a frost jade scorpion, a Class 5 dire beast. Its shell was as bright as jade, and its defense was indestructible. Its attack was accompanied by a dense cold air. Its pair of giant claws attacked the ancient azure dragon with murderous intent. The latter pushed its dragon claws and bit the frost jade scorpion. Hiss, hiss. Before Lin Shun could react, the ice on the other glacier suddenly shattered, and a thick body that was nearly 1,000 feet long pounced towards Lin Shun and Lung Yuechi. Be careful. Bai Ruoyan's jade-like hand held a 3-foot-long green sword. She stood on top of a mountain peak not far away. The sword's edge flowed with a sharp aura that could shake the heavens, violently cutting the air into the shape of a saw. Sky Silver Heart Sword. Bai Ruoyan was peerless and otherworldly, like a sword immortal descending to the mortal world. When the huge ice python sneakily attacked Lin Shun and Li Qiye, she pulled the tip of her sword, and a sword light as thin as a fingertip slashed out like a rainbow, piercing through the sun. The startling rainbow sword light flashed past the corner of the glacier and split it open without any suspense. Then, It hit the gigantic ice python that was 1,000 feet away from Lin Chun. The sword aura pierced into the ice python's scales, and blood spurted out. The ice python spat out its tongue in pain and fell to the ground, stirring up a snowstorm that filled the sky. Such an incredible sword skill. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. His big sister by Ruoyan was indeed remarkable. She was actually able to injure this Tier 5 Ice Calamity Python with her 9th level of the Earth Realm cultivation. This power was even stronger than the Divine Desolate 9 arts that he used to recharge his energy runes. I won't be able to delay it for long. Quickly go and seize the lotus. Byra Oyan yelled out delicately. Lin Chun immediately regained his senses and placed Lung Yuechi on the snowy ground. You have to be careful. Don't let anything happen to you. Lung Yuechi gave a rare reminder to Lin Chun with concern. This was the first time he saw his icy beauty mentor being so worried about him. Lin Chun couldn't help but stare blankly for a moment. Don't worry, it won't be able to deal with me. I will slaughter it later and get a python skin coat for our class's beautiful mentor to wear. Lin Chun chuckled. Lung Yuechi let out a rare smile and headed straight for the 9-heart ice lotus. The purple phoenix wings flapped with purple flames, and the black abyss spear burned with dark red battle chi flames. Lin Chun raised his spear and aimed at the back of the ice calamity python's head before cleaving down. PFFF. The spear cut through the tough python skin and tore off a large piece of flesh. The ice calamity python, which was still focused on by Rowan, was in so much pain that it rolled around on the ground. Lin Chen's speed was considered top-notch among the Heaven Dipper realm first level. The ice calamity python, which was distracted, couldn't even react in time. Let me give you a grand slam. Lin Chun exerted strength in both his palms and pierced the spear another 3 inches in, causing the python's blood to splatter. Immediately after, Lin Chun circulated his fire and wind attributed battle chi. The flaming gale went through the spear tip and into the ice calamity python's body. Divine Wilderness 9 arts. Wind rend, flame extinguish. In the next moment, Lin Chun, who had fully exerted his battle chi, sprinted on the ice calamity python's back. Together with the flapping of the purple phoenix wings, he tore open a shocking wound on the ice calamity python's back. Red battle chi flames were still burning on the wound. Together with the ferocious splitting wind, the flames burned more and more fiercely. Byra Oyan saw that the ice calamity python was in so much pain that it wanted to bite Lin Chun. She flipped the sword in her hand and slashed out a river-like sword chi. It swept through the 9 heavens and stars and landed on the ice calamity python's head, leaving a bloody sword mark. The ice calamity python, which had been sleeping for thousands of years, had never suffered such a fierce attack. It immediately took out its strongest trump card. Byra Oyan was about to follow up with another attack when the ice calamity python's aura suddenly changed and it shouted, "Brother Lin Chun, get off its back." As soon as Byra Oyan's voice fell, Lin Chun felt that something was wrong. He flapped his purple phoenix wings and flew up rapidly. Puff! Boom! The ice calamity python's body instantly emitted a shocking cold air that could freeze the world. It froze a large glacier hundreds of feet around its body. If one was frozen by this cold air, they would probably be frozen in a few breaths. It was enough to kill them. What a powerful cold air. As expected of a Class 5 dire beast. It's not as easy to deal with as a Class 4 dire beast. A murderous look flashed in Lin Chen's eyes. However, it's also at the end of its rope. I've already cut a wound that's half its body length. If I hit it harder, it'll definitely die. Holding the Dark Abyss spear tightly in his hand, Lin Chen's purple phoenix wings exploded with purple flames. Lin Chun activated the remaining Thunder Battle Chi in his body. Post-activated Level 2 Recharge Rune. 50,000 rune energy points have been consumed. Attack power increased by 240%. Recharge Rune. Thunder Explosion. The Dark Abyss spear burst out and turned into a dark lightning dragon-like bolt of lightning. It crossed the void and stabbed toward the ice calamity python. The sharpness of a Class 5 weapon combined with Lin Shen's full-strength thunder explosion penetrated the ice calamity python's self-formed glacier and pierced a large hole. Eat my 70 incandescent aurora stones. Lin Shen injected a trace of thunder battle chi into the two spirit storage rings and suddenly threw them into the huge glacier hole. Chapter 145. Sister Lin, retreat now. Lin Shen suddenly shouted, and the two of them quickly retreated. In less than 2 breaths, the two spirit receiving rings were thrown right at the Frost Calamity Python's wound. The Frost Calamity Python still didn't understand why the two humans suddenly retreated. The moment the light bloomed, an unprecedented aurora enveloped the entire space of the temple. It was as if tens of thousands of auroras had gathered at one point and exploded at the same time. Under the dazzling and beautiful light, there was a fatal killing intent. Bang! Rumble! The power of 70 incandescent aurora stones was as shocking as the heavens, and they landed right on the Frost Calamity Python's wound. This time, the Frost Calamity Python's body exploded, and countless pieces of flesh were annihilated into ashes. A large number of blood-red and water-attributed light balls floated in the air above the Frost Calamity Python's corpse. Lin Shen flapped his purple phoenix wings and collected all the light balls in a few breaths. The host has received 46 million points of chi and 24 million points of chi and blood energy. Because the host's strength has reached the limit, the chi and blood energy has been absorbed. However, the limit hasn't been broken, so the strength remains the same. The system popped up to inform him of Lin Shen's current situation. His pure strength was already at the limit of 999,900 tiger power. If he wanted to go further, he would reach the level of dragon power. He had to absorb more light balls to break through this limit. At this moment, a strange phenomenon occurred. The entire temple began to shake. Ghastly cracks began to spread from the structure of the temple. The entire temple was about to collapse. Not good. The energy source maintaining the temple has reached its limit. Our previous battle also affected the foundation of the temple. Now, the temple is about to collapse. Bai Ruoyan's expression was solemn. She glanced at Lin Shen, and he immediately understood. Sister Ruoyan, I'll be faster. You retreat to the exit first. I'll go help Instructor Long. Seeing that Lin Shen had already moved, Bai Ruoyan's purple phoenix wings moved at a speed of 1,000 meters in an instant. If she insisted on staying, she would only be a burden. Bai Ruoyan's beautiful figure trembled and disappeared in a wisp of smoke. But Lung Yueqi, who was near the ice pool, was not optimistic. Just as she approached the ice pond to take the 9-heart ice lotus, the ferocious frost cyan jade scorpion broke through the ancient azure dragon's obstruction and attacked Lung Yueqi. The ancient azure dragon and the frost viridescent jade scorpion once again engaged in an intense battle near the ice pool, completely blocking Lung Yueqi's path forward. She was unable to enter the ice pool at all. This resulted in Lung Yueqi not being able to obtain the 9-heart ice lotus. She took out her ice bow and madly attacked the frost cyan jade scorpion. However, this kind of vicious beast was known for its defense and endurance. She was unable to break through its defense in a short period of time. The ancient azure dragon had already fought a great battle with a blazing lava lizard. Facing the frost cyan jade scorpion now, it was impossible to determine the victor within a short period of time. If not for the fact that the ancient azure dragon had consumed a large number of pills and treasures that Lin Shen had robbed, it would have already lost to the frost cyan jade scorpion. Rumble. At this moment, the godly palace began to collapse. A few pieces of molten iron fell down like meteors. Each piece was dozens of feet large, and they were all aimed at Lung Yueqi's position. Instructor, be careful, Lin Shen suddenly shouted coldly. In the center of his palm, He condensed the little light element battle chi in his body into a light's fury. The level 2 charging rune was stacked with 50,000 runes of rune energy. At the same time, the power of the light's fury skyrocketed. However, the power of this move did not shake the falling pieces of the godly palace at all. It only relied on the shockwave of the explosion to send the pieces flying for a short distance, giving Lung Yueqi a brief moment to use her movement skill to dodge. What is this thing? It's actually so hard. Lin Shan sucked in a cold breath. The light's fury just now could blow open a hole in the body of a level 5 vicious beast, but could only destroy a few pieces of rubble. Without caring too much, Lin Shan went to Lung Yueqi's side and took her away. Lin Shan, what are you doing? Put me down. I haven't taken a 9-heart ice lotus yet. Lung Yueqi angrily scolded Lin Shan. My instructor Lung, you're about to die. Why do you still want the lotus? This time, Lin Shan was almost anxious. Lung Yueqi had steeled her heart at this time. No, this thing is my hope for revenge. If I can't get it, it's useless for me to live. If you don't put me down, don't blame me for being impolite. Lung Yueqi gritted her teeth and threatened Lin Shan. F***CK. Isn't it just an ice lotus? I'll go get it, you hide to the side. Purple flames flashed past a glacier peak. After Lin Shan put Lung Yueqi down, he turned around and quickly flew towards the ice pool. Be careful, Lung Yueqi shouted worriedly. Lin Shan was currently concentrating on connecting with the ancient azure dragon's mind. The frost jade scorpion was currently guarding the ice pool. If he wanted to take the 9-heart ice lotus, he would have to kill it. When Lin Shan opened his eyes again, his pupils had turned into a light green color. The middle of his pupils had turned into a vertical eye, exactly the same as the ancient azure dragon's dragon eyes. The ancient azure dragon roared at the sky, opened its dragon mouth, and bit down on the frost jade scorpion's pincers. The dragon claw suddenly swung horizontally, moving the frost jade scorpion's position more than half away from the center of the ice pool. The frost jade scorpion's pincers suddenly attacked and tore off a large portion of the ancient azure dragon's dragon scales. The ancient azure dragon was not afraid at all and took a step back to create enough space. I'd like to see how you're going to defend. At this moment, Lin Shan suddenly roared hoarsely. The ancient azure dragon soared into the sky, the dragon occupying the 9 heavens, sweeping across the stars. Azure dragon, soul, rending claw. Roar. The ancient azure dragon's claws suddenly swung down angrily. A faint and sharp azure light danced wildly from the dragon claws. Every azure light blade emitted a sharpness that could cut rivers and rivers. All of them were like hurricanes that swept past the frost jade scorpion. Boom, 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 boom. Wherever the azure light dragon claws passed, everything was destroyed. Everything was sliced and shredded. The air currents collapsed. The earth shook. The glaciers disintegrated. The earth's crust shifted, and the mountains shattered. The azure light dragon claws that danced wildly in the void seemed to take away the beauty and brilliance. After the extreme destruction, what was left was endless silence and the noisy sound of earthquakes. The 9 hearts ice lotus in the ice pool was taken away by a stream of purple flames at extreme speed. It was carefully stored in a jade box made of cold air. I finally got it. I'm going to run. Lin Shan flew to the ancient azure dragon's back. The ancient azure dragon waved its dragon claws and brought Lin Shan away from the ice pool. Lin Shan was panting. After a series of fierce battles, his battle chi had been completely exhausted. Even his mind was in a tense state. Now, he was constantly feeling dizzy. When Lung Yueqi saw that he had finally obtained the 9 hearts ice lotus, her anxious heart finally relaxed. Just as she was about to leave the snowy ground, a series of fragments of the shrine began to fall crazily, smashing the glaciers and snow mountains. Lin Shan's expression changed greatly. He gritted his teeth, and the true flame purple phoenix wings spread out from his back again. With blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, he suddenly flew in the direction of Lung Yueqi. Bang! Bang! Lin Shun hugged Lung Yuechi's slender waist and brought her away before the fragments of the shrine fell. After bringing Lung Yuechi back to the ancient azure dragon's back, Lin Shun suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face was as pale as paper. Forcefully controlling the purple phoenix wings, he had begun to reach his body's limit. Lin Shun couldn't care too much. When he raised his head to look at the peak of the shrine, his pupils suddenly trembled. Not good. The shrine is about to collapse. We can't rush out in time. Ignoring everything else, Lin Shun ordered the ancient azure dragon to head to the bottom of the largest glacier that was closest to them. The ancient azure dragon's body coiled up. Under the glacier, it tightly protected Lin Shun and Lung Yuechi. What followed was an earth-shattering collapse. Chapter 146. The whole temple collapsed completely, and the earth-shattering sound of the falling was endless. The whole glacier and snow turned into ruins. The lava mountains on the other side were the same, even more terrible than the glacier and snow. Lava was flying all over the sky after being smashed by the fragments of the temple, and the fire continued to burn in all directions. In the dim and narrow space, the cold attacked Lin Shun, stimulating his consciousness and making him slowly open his heavy eyelids. Am I buried alive? Oh no, where is Mitterlung? Lin Shun quivered and instantly became alert. He hurriedly searched around for her. He had no battle chi and it was dark all around, so he could only rely on his senses to find her. Suddenly, Lin Shun grabbed a piece of soft and silky cloth in the cold ice around him. But what was softer was the owner of the cloth. This feeling made Lin Shun frown. Why is there a steamed bun here? F***CK. It's Minter. Lin Shun hurriedly stretched out his hand, carefully leaned against the ice, and then lifted it up with force. In the darkness, Lin Shun could vaguely make out a beautiful figure lying on the snowy ground. Stretching out his finger, Lin Shun found that Lung Yuechi still had a weak breath, but she was in danger. Her internal organs were all damaged, and she had suffered serious internal injuries. It should be the fragments of the temple that injured Minter. She used the last of her battle chi to protect herself, but she still fainted. I have to heal her quickly. Lin Shun immediately checked his storage ring to see if there was anything left that could be used. Lin Shun and the ancient azure dragon were telepathically connected. He knew that the ancient azure dragon was now in the space above his head. If it were not for the ancient azure dragon, he and Lung Yuechi would have been crushed into meat paste. Oh no, almost all my treasures have been eaten by the ancient azure dragon. Only this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng and emerald spirit core are left. Lin Shun rummaged in his storage ring for a long time. There were only 2 medicinal materials left that could be used. As for medicinal pills, there were none left. The spiritual chi in the space of the temple had dried up. The pills are the only way to recover battle chi and injuries, and they had long been used up. The rest of the weapons were all captured weapons, which were completely useless for healing. I can only try. As an alchemist, Lin Shun was very familiar with the effects of the remaining jade spirit cores and 1,000-year blood ginseng. He opened the jade spirit core and carefully cut off a small piece of the fruit. After crushing it, he carefully put it into Lung Yuechi's cherry mouth. The energy contained in high-grade medicinal herbs was extremely abundant. Normally, ordinary people were not allowed to consume them directly. Then, Lin Shun quickly took a bite of the jade spirit core. His flesh shell was tyrannical, so he was not afraid of this violent energy. After eating half of the jade spirit core, Lin Shun recovered a trace of battle chi. He ran the pure water scripture to heal Lung Yuechi. First, he let her refine the energy of the jade spirit core so that her body could produce battle chi to protect her meridians. Then, Lin Shun cut the 1,000-year blood ginseng into 1,000 pieces. Each piece was as small as a few strands of hair. He slowly fed them to Lung Yuechi and used the energy of the 1,000-year blood ginseng to heal her internal injuries. After an unknown period of time, Lin Shen finally fed Ling Yueqi 1,000 pieces of blood ginseng and half of the jade spirit core. When Lung Yueqi's internal injuries began to recover quickly, he breathed a sigh of relief. He was so tired that he sat on the ground, panting like a cow. There is no spiritual qi around to help me recover my battle qi. If I continue like this, I can only wait for death. Lin Shen explored the surroundings. The space that he could move in now was only a few feet. Lin Shen touched a small fragment of the shrine next to him. He ran his pure strength and punched a few times. Except for shaking off a pile of ice and snow, there was no sign of breaking. Lin Shen's fist was in pain. This is bad. The ancient azure dragon is unable to move in order to protect my position. Without my battle qi, it is impossible for me to shake the falling fragments of the shrine. The incandescent aurora stone may blow up these shrine fragments, but I don't have a trace of thunder battle qi. How can I detonate the incandescent aurora stone? For the first time, Lin Shen was confused. He couldn't find a way to get out. His characteristic runes were only effective against living creatures or to improve his battle qi attack. But he didn't have any means to recover his battle qi. In this space where spiritual qi was exhausted, he could only wait for death. The ancient azure dragon had used the azure dragon soul rending claw and was in a weakened state. It was lucky that it could protect itself. It couldn't break those shrine fragments. If he couldn't get out of here, he would either starve to death, freeze to death, or die of thirst when the last bit of his battle qi was exhausted. Top experts could completely abstain from eating, but the prerequisite was that there was spiritual qi of heaven and earth to replenish their energy. Cough, cough, cough. Lung Yueqi coughed softly. Lin Shen hurried over and touched her with his finger. He found that Lung Yueqi's body temperature was gradually rising. Oh no, the energy of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng is still too domineering. I need some water source and other energy to balance it out. He frowned. He didn't have the time or ability to find a water source. I can only take a gamble. Lin Shen took out a dagger and made a cut on his palm. The moment blood flowed out, in order to prevent it from freezing, he immediately held it to the beauty's lips and fed it to her. Lung Yueqi's body temperature gradually dropped, and her face gradually became rosy. However, Lin Shen's face was getting paler. It was unknown how much time had passed in the dark underground. Lung Yueqi's eyebrows trembled as she opened her eyes. She found herself in the arms of a young man. His strong arms were hugging her. This, Lin Shen, you dare to molest your teacher. Lung Yueqi's spirit recovered in an instant. Just as her eyebrows became sharp, her aura immediately disappeared. At this moment, Lin Shen was leaning on a block of ice. His body was cold and bloodless. Before he fainted, he was still hugging her tightly. Lung Yueqi saw the blood on his palm. She touched the corner of her mouth and checked the injuries in her body. She also saw the scattered strands of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng. She was smart and immediately understood what happened. Lin Shen, you are so silly. Why did you do this? Lung Yueqi's heart throbbed slightly. A trace of stubbornness and heartache appeared on her cold face. She transferred the little battle qi in her body into Lin Shen's body. After the battle qi entered his body, Lin Shen's flesh shell seemed to have regained a trace of vitality. His eyebrows trembled slightly. Lin Shen opened his eyes slightly. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw his beautiful teacher pursing her red lips and glaring at him angrily. Normally, she would be full of killing intent. But now, Lin Shen looked like a weak girl who was stubbornly angry. He was quite cute. Chapter 147. Haha, Minter Lung, you're awake. Lin Shen smiled with a pale face. Lung Yueqi wanted to be angry, but she couldn't. She just shook her head and said, "Why did you do this? You're stupid, you know? You'll lose your life." In response, Lin Shen fell on the ice and smiled indifferently. It's better for me to lose my life than for you to lose your life. Lung Yueqi was stunned. She snorted and said, I won't allow you to say such degrading words. I'm not degrading myself. It's just that I feel that Minter Lung's burden is much heavier than mine. I, Lin Shun, only want to be free. I don't have as many burdens as Minter Lung, so you deserve to live more than me." Hearing his seemingly relaxed answer, Lung Yuechi stared at him in a daze. The softest part of her heart seemed to be touched. Her beautiful eyes flashed, and 2 lines of tears flowed. The beauty's soft hands hugged Lin Shun. Why? Why did you say such words? I'm clearly the one who let you down. If I didn't insist on taking the 9 hard ice lotus, you wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Everything is my fault. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It was the first time he saw Lung Yuechi reveal her true feelings. Lin Shun smiled helplessly. Minter, this is my own choice. It has nothing to do with you. How could it have nothing to do with me? If you didn't help me, you wouldn't be trapped here. You still have a great future and a limitless future. You shouldn't die here. I'm the one who harmed you. Lung Yuechi cried harder and harder. It was as if she was crying out all the grievances in her heart. You don't blame me. Lung Yuechi, who was crying like a weeping beauty, suddenly raised her head and asked. Lin Shun stroked her long hair. Why would I blame you? This is my own choice. When this sentence came out, Lung Yuechi cried even harder. Lin Shun smiled bitterly in his heart. Why are all girls the same? When crying and falling in love, why does their IQ drop? In order to make Lung Yuechi happy, Lin Shun endured the cold invading his body and smiled casually. Then cry more. Come, raise your head and cry in front of me. When I go out in the future, I'll tell everyone in the class in detail about the appearance of our icy beauty teacher when she cried. As soon as he said this, Lung Yuechi's eyes were filled with tears. She laughed and scolded him. You little brat, you sure want to? Tears flickered in the beauty's eyes as she smiled with tears in her eyes. She was like a beautiful snow lotus that bloomed after an iceberg melted. She was so beautiful that a certain Lin was stunned by her beauty. Lin Shun stared at Lung Yuechi and hugged her slender waist. He said seriously, Minter, you're so beautiful. Their cheeks were very close to each other. When Lung Yuechi heard this, her usually cold and arrogant cheeks blushed for the first time. Her expression was somewhat flustered as she turned her face away and muttered, Don't. I'm her teacher. Hee. So what if he's a teacher? Lin Shun shamelessly chuckled evilly before he sighed. Teacher, you're so beautiful. You'll definitely look like a fairy in a wedding dress. What's a wedding dress? A wedding dress is from my hometown. A girl only wears it once in her life, and it's only for one person. Lin Shun talked about the customs of his hometown. He tried his best to keep his mind clear, and at the same time, to prevent Lung Yuechi from falling into sadness. Just like this, the young man hugged the beauty and leaned on each other in the dim space. As Lin Shun talked, he found that Lung Yuechi had finally fallen asleep in his arms. She hadn't finished absorbing the effect of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng, and her injuries hadn't been completely healed. This was the second time the medicine had taken effect, causing her body to enter a state of hibernation. She would recover faster from her injuries. When she woke up again, Lung Yuechi's injuries would be completely healed. At this moment, Lin Shun's situation was extremely bad. His body was weak, and he had lost too much blood. Without battle chi to protect his body, he was hungry, cold, and thirsty. He was almost in a desperate situation. He was half a step into the gates of hell. As his eyelids grew heavier, the drowsy Lin Shun bit the tip of his tongue. I can't sleep. If I fall asleep, I might really die here. Lin Shun randomly grabbed a dagger and carved on the ice, trying to find something to focus his mind. Time passed by again. Lung Yuechi woke up as the warm current in her body disappeared. What happened to me? I fainted again. After waking up, Lung Yuechi hurriedly looked at Lin Shun and found that he was still looking at her with a smile. However, his lips and face were already pale. Lin Shun, are you okay? How long have I been asleep? Lung Yuechi worriedly checked Lin Shun's vitality, and her pupils trembled slightly. At this moment, Lin Shun's body was in an extremely bad condition. His meridians and dantian were invaded by the cold air, and they were about to be frozen into ice. The most important thing was that his blood had no vitality and was about to stop flowing. If this situation happened to a normal person, he would have died long ago. If his body refining realm was not strong enough, he wouldn't even have the chance to hang on to his last breath. It's okay. You didn't sleep for long. Lin Shen smiled weakly. Lung Yuechi was so anxious that tears were flickering in her eyes. Don't talk first. I will see if there is any way to help you. Lin Shen shook his head and suddenly said seriously, Teacher, don't look for any way. Turn around first. I want to give you a gift. It's already at this time. Why do you still want me to turn around? Lung Yuechi anxiously turned around and looked to the side. When Lung Yuechi looked at the ice block beside her, she gasped slightly and covered her red lips with her hands. She was stunned for a moment. She saw that on the ice block, there was a light white dress carved out of ice and snow. It was too beautiful to be taken in all at once. The white dress had a heart-shaped collar and a soft white silk scarf in front of the collar. The shoulders on both sides were flat and slightly exposed. There was a white silk ribbon tied around the waist. The snow-white flawless dress was fluffy and light. It was as thin as a veil, and the long skirt extended to the ground. This was a white wedding dress carved out of ice and snow. Its beauty and exquisiteness could be said to be the work of the gods. It was like a gorgeous and transparent crystal that was finely cut out. It was comparable to the most beautiful and exquisite art in the world. If there were immortal clothes in the mortal world, perhaps it would be like this. This? What is this? No matter how cold Lung Yuechi was, she was still a woman. When she saw this unique ice and snow wedding dress, she also found it difficult to remain calm. This is the wedding dress that I and Teacher were talking about. It's a pity that I don't have the chance to see Teacher wear it. Lin Chen's eyelids drooped, and he was about to close. No, Lin Shun, don't faint. You'll be fine. Tears rolled down her face. The beauty hugged the young man and sobbed silently. Before Lin Chen slowly closed his eyes, he still managed to squeeze out a smile. After I came to this world, I haven't had a girlfriend yet. Teacher, can you give me a kiss? Chapter 148. Before Lin Shun could see the beauty's shyness, his eyelids had already closed. Crack, rumble. Before his consciousness disappeared, Lin Shun faintly heard a violent tremor. In the world where his consciousness was drifting, Lin Shun seemed to see a handsome face walking towards him. When Lin Shun saw clearly, he realized that the other party's handsomeness was earth-shattering. His handsomeness was so much better than his own. He subconsciously grabbed the other party's arm and asked anxiously, Brother, why are you so handsome? Please tell me your secret. That handsome face shook his head and smiled. He turned around and left without looking back. Before leaving, he only left behind a sentence. Because I'm reading it and I'm subscribing. In a world of ice and snow, snow swirled. The two beauties stared at the young man lying on the ground without blinking. Suddenly, without any warning, the young man opened his eyes and screamed in fright. Quick, subscribe quickly. When Lin Shen woke up, the two beauties were both surprised and happy. This little guy finally woke up. Byra Oyan had not yet let out a sigh of relief when Lung Yuechi unexpectedly hugged Lin Shun. You bastard! I thought you would never wake up again. The beautiful woman's face was flushed with excitement. Tears fell down her elegant and noble face like rain. Even Byra Oyan was stunned. What kind of situation was this? Lin Shen calmed down and looked around. Lung Yuechi was hugging him, and Byra Oyan was curious. Only then did he remember what happened. I didn't die? Ha ha! If a handsome guy doesn't die, there will be good fortune later. Lin Shun, who was so excited that he wanted to throw a punch, suddenly felt an intense pain from his chest. His injuries had not fully recovered. The pain made him tremble. What are you shouting for? Your injuries are not even half healed. Byra Oyan rolled her eyes at him in amusement. Lin Shen immediately became well-behaved. Looking at Lung Yuechi, who was still hugging him, he felt like he was in a dream. Lung Yuechi seemed to feel their gazes and quickly let go of Lin Shun. Her cold and beautiful face was as red as a tomato. She pretended to be calm and lectured Lin Shan with the tone of a teacher. Next time, don't do such an absurd thing again. If it wasn't for Big Sister by Ruoyan spending a month to find us, you would be finished this time. You still have a great future ahead of you. It's not worth gambling your life like this. Do you hear me? Seeing that Lung Yuechi was pretending to be brave, Lin Shan found it a little funny and said seriously, I'm not some peerless hero. I'm a person who strives for every moment. If I could do it all over again, I would still make the same choice. Well, that's just the way he is. Let's get out of here first, Bai Ruoyan said with a smile. Lung Yuechi unhappily turned around and simply ignored Lin Shan. This shrine has already collapsed, but the restriction is still there. If we want to leave, we still have to go through this spatial exit. Bai Ruoyan pointed at the spatial vortex not far away. At this time, more than half of the shrine had already collapsed. Then let's go. Lin Shan struggled to get up. Waves of weakness came from his body, making him feel dizzy. The injuries he received this time were not as bad as before. The cold temperature had damaged his meridians and internal organs. He needed to properly recuperate for a while. Just as he was about to lose his balance, Lung Yuechi's soft and delicate skin touched his arm. Lin Shan was supported by Lung Yuechi. Her tall and slender figure was not shorter than Lin Shan at all. Let me support you. After all, you were injured because of me, Lung Yuechi said indifferently. Lung Yuechi said indifferently. The faint fragrance of a virgin lingering on the beauty's body made a certain Lin's heart a little restless. His eyes stared fixedly at Lung Yuechi's perfect figure. Surprisingly, Lung Yuechi did not seem to care about Lin Shan's gaze. Her face was calm, but the tips of her delicate ears were burning as if they were on fire. Bai Ruoyan secretly glanced at the two with a trace of a smile on her face. She deliberately walked in front, and then took the lead to enter the spatial vortex and be transported away. When Lin Shan was about to step into the spatial vortex, the beauty suddenly stared at him. A rare trace of gentleness appeared in her eyes. She actually held Lin Shan's face, and her red lips were like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, quickly pecking Lin Shan's face. Lin Shan was dumbfounded. Big brother, am I being kissed by force? Lung Yuechi whispered in his ear, her voice like an orchid. Thank you for everything you have done for Teacher. Teacher really likes that wedding dress. Lung Yuechi's noble and cold face smiled sweetly. She was as beautiful as a fairy and like a melting iceberg. A trace of dawn shone in Lin Shan's eyes. It was like a dream. After finishing her statement, Lung Yuechi jumped into the spatial vortex. Lin Shan stood on the spot in a daze and quickly followed up after 2 breaths. Taking advantage of me? Running after kissing and slipping away after flirting. How can there be such an easy thing? I want to kiss you back. After returning to the outside world, Lin Shan circulated the 9 calamities of creation and absorbed a massive amount of heaven and earth spirit energy like a whale, replenishing his dantian with a large amount of battle chi. With an abundant battle chi, Lin Shan circulated the true water origin art. The current him had completely cultivated the true water origin art to the perfection stage. In less than 4 hours, all his internal injuries were healed. Lin Shan took the opportunity to open the system. Heaven Dao Possession Pickup System version 2.0 Host Lin Shan Cultivation 6th level of the Earth Realm. Limit Power 999,000 Tiger Power. Chi and Blood Energy 90, 81 million points. Battle Chi Essence 81, 22 million points. Mental Power 141,000 points. Cultivation Technique Soul Essence 2.0 million points. Mental Cultivation 9 Calamities of Creation 15%. Cultivation Technique 8 Desolation Mystic Flame True Water Origin Art 100%. Heaven Dipper Battle Chi 100%. Taisher Scripture 19%. Divine Desolation 9 Arts 60%. Special Treasure True Flame Purple Phoenix Wings 40%. Bloodline Energy 2,150 Green Dragon Bloodline 10,000 purple golden pupils bloodline. Attribute rune. Grade 2 slowing rune. Grade 2 corrosion rune. Grade 2 charging rune. Rune energy 107 million points. Various elemental energy 182 million points for fire element. 405 million points for earth element. 407 million points for wood element. 491 million points for metal element. 487 million points for water element. Lightning element 701 million points for wind element. 28 million points for light element. 74 million points for dark element. 980,000 points for wind element. After entering the shrine this time, Lin Shen's strength could be said to have increased by several levels. If he encountered a Heaven Dipper realm in the outside world, he would have the ability to fight back. Most importantly, other than his own combat strength, he also had an ancient green dragon that could cultivate with him. There's still 1 month left before the Evil King's secret realm closes. We've already achieved our goal for this trip. From now on, we can walk around the secret realm with ease. Byra Oyan smiled calmly and elegantly. She had already obtained the white Qian fruit, and it was of the highest quality. There was nothing else in this secret realm that could attract her. There's still 1 more month to be impudent. My great green dragon and I have long been unable to endure the hunger and thirst. Lin Shen rubbed his hands together. The ancient green dragon had absorbed all of his black Qian fruit, and it was not far away from the realm of 3 dragon power. In this evil king's secret realm that was full of treasures, his azure dragon could be considered a hungry wolf that had entered a flock of sheep and had a big meal. Chapter 149. 28 days after leaving the Hidden Realm. In the southern region of the Hidden Realm, there was a precipitous cliff with spirit energy that formed a faint purple spirit fog. Within the spirit fog, there was a stalk of dragon jade Ganoderma. Misty energy lines were twining around the dragon jade Ganoderma. Below the cliff, 2 Heaven Dipper realm experts were fighting over this tier, 5 mid-grade dragon jade Ganoderma. All of a sudden, ancient azure dragon that was over 1,000 feet in size soared through the clouds, soaring through the air and appearing in the world. It opened its dragon mouth and instantly ate the dragon jade Ganoderma on the cliff. It then flew into the sky and left the scene, leaving behind 2 stupefied Heaven Dipper realm experts. Looking at the direction where the azure dragon left, the 2 of them left resentfully and acted as though nothing happened. Lin Chun sat cross-legged on the ancient azure dragon's back and frowned. Your azure dragon's pure strength has already reached 7 dragon force points. In terms of pure strength, it is comparable to a 2nd stage Heaven Dipper realm expert. As long as you don't encounter a 2nd stage Heaven Dipper realm expert, you won't be at a disadvantage. Byra Oyan stroked her black hair in between her eyebrows with indescribable elegance and beauty. But it basically won't grow anymore. It seems like its bloodline has reached the limit. Lin Chun let out a sigh of regret. His Azure Dragon bloodline was only at 2,150 points. Right now, the ancient Azure Dragon had already grown to the limit. If he wanted to improve it further, he would have to find a new Azure Dragon bloodline attribute light sphere. There weren't many ancient dragons in the 24 regions. Furthermore, Lin Shen's strength was only an appetizer. After 28 days and defeating numerous Heaven Dipper realm experts, I have just advanced to the 7th level of the Earth realm. It will be hard to advance any further. Before entering the Evil King Hidden Realm, he was only at the 2nd stage of the Earth realm. After breaking through 5 stages in 2 months, he still wasn't satisfied. Seeing that Lin Chen wasn't satisfied with his cultivation speed, Byra Oyan smiled and shook her head. In the body refinement realm, Lin Chen was still stuck at 999,000 Tiger Force points. It was much harder for a human's body refinement to break through to the Dragon Force realm than a beast race. Forget it. I will use the remaining time to search for some natural treasures and refine some elixirs for everyone in Class 66. The Azure Dragon swept by, Lin Shun and the others vanished into the horizon. 2 days later, Lin Shun and the two women returned to the location of the teleportation portal and arrived at the dilapidated ancient city. As soon as they arrived, more than a dozen Heavenly Dipper Realm cultivators were eyeing Lin Shun covetously. They were the Heavenly Dipper Realm cultivators who were robbed by Lin Shun in the Divine Temple. Now, they were bearing a grudge. Some of them stared greedily at Lin Shun. This brat was so arrogant and despotic. He must have obtained a lot of good things in the Mystic Realm. In the Mystic Realm, they were afraid of Lin Shun. But outside the Mystic Realm, Lin Shun was just a brat at the 7th level of the Earth Realm. In their eyes, it was an existence that they could kill with a flip of their hand. Even his Azure Dragon was no exception. However, no one dared to make a move in the Mystic Realm. Boom! Space rippled, and a space stairway opened up from the void, extending into the void. All the powerhouses rushed into the Heaven Stairway one after another. At least 1/3 of the Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators had died in this trip to the Secret Realm. This was a horrifying ratio in the 24 regions and even the Spirit State. In order for a single Heaven Dipper Realm cultivator to be born in any region, it would require hundreds of years of accumulation. It would require billions or billions of people to compete with each other before 1 or 2 Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators could be born. We can finally leave. Lung Yuechi and Bai Ruoyan's beautiful eyes were filled with anticipation. After leaving the Mystic Realm, one of them was recovering her cultivation, while the other was breaking through. Both of them were looking forward to how far they could go. After entering the space tunnel, the 3 of them were pushed by a massive spatial force. In less than 15 minutes, they returned to the Sky Chelan Island. However, the spatial zone outside of the Sky Chelan Island was different. When Lin Shun and the others were teleported out, 2 streams of bright saber chi that were as wide as a long river split open the clouds. It was powerful enough to swallow mountains and rivers. The killing aura stirred up the wind and clouds. It descended from the sky and went straight for Lin Shun and the other 2. Before Lin Shun could make a move, Bai Ruoyan smiled calmly. With a wave of her hand, the saber chi that was as thick as a horned dragon was instantly annihilated into nothingness. After the saber chi was annihilated, 12 Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators quickly surrounded the 3 of them from all directions. Their battle auras surged, and they were ready to attack at any moment. Sister Ruoyan, we are surrounded. Lin Shun didn't panic and smiled mockingly. Haha, you've already robbed them. Who else are they going to surround if not you? Bai Ruoyan teased with a smile as she looked at the Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators calmly. Friend, we came here today only for this brat. We have no other intentions towards you. If you can leave, you are giving us some face. We owe you this favor. How about it? The strength that Bai Ruoyan had just displayed had caused the Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators to be wary. Everyone knew that this Lin Shun was full of tricks. If this mysterious woman could leave safely, it would undoubtedly reduce a lot of variables for them. Give you some face? Even if those old fellows from the hidden sects of the spiritual state come out, they might not dare to negotiate with me like this. Other than facing Lin Shun, Bai Ruoyan had regained her high and mighty fairy-like temperament. She was biting cold, otherworldly, and aloof. Her beautiful figure floated in the air as her battle aura soared into the sky. It covered the sky and covered the sun. Bai Ruoyan's cultivation started to rise rapidly. The terrifying battle aura's aftermath shook the sea surface within 1,000 miles. Heaven Dipper Realm 3rd stage, 4th stage, 5th stage, peak 5th stage, 6th stage. Heaven Dipper Realm 6th stage peak. The heavens and earth trembled, and all living things were silent. Huge waves that were 100 feet high kept rolling from the sea surface. The sorrowful cries of high-level sea beasts could be heard from the bottom of the sea. They were in great pain from the suppression of this unprecedented aura. Bai Ruoyan alone suppressed 12 veteran Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators of the wilderness. All the veteran Heaven Dipper realm cultivators felt like they had fallen into an ice cellar. They were very familiar with the situation of the wilderness. There were only a few Heaven Dipper realm 6th stage hidden old monsters. Who was this white-clothed woman? Heaven Dipper realm 6th stage. May I ask who you are? A few experienced Heaven Dipper realm cultivators immediately bowed and cupped their fists. They didn't even have the courage to turn around and flee. The Heaven Dipper realm was different from the Earth realm. Every stage contained a whole new world. A Heaven Dipper realm 2nd stage cultivator could completely suppress a Heaven Dipper realm 1st stage cultivator. At this stage, it was extremely difficult to fight against someone a higher stage. Among this group of people, the highest stage cultivator was only at Heaven Dipper realm 4th stage. The rest were mostly at Heaven Dipper realm 2nd or 3rd stage. Byron, who was at the peak of Heaven Dipper realm 6th stage, had the ability to kill all of them within a few moves. This was an absolute difference in strength. Heaven Dipper realm 6th stage. Oh my God, Sister Oyen is actually so strong. Just by standing beside Byron, Lin Shun felt his eardrums were ringing and his head was spinning. In a head-on confrontation, an expert of this level could turn him into ashes with a flick of her finger. Chapter 150. If you dare to touch a single strand of this young man's hair, I'll wipe out your entire sect. Byron waved her sleeves. Without any battle chi, the 12 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators exploded in different degrees. Bang, bang, bang. A series of explosions caused them to vomit blood and retreat dozens of steps in the air. Their eyes were filled with horror. Scram. Byron looked down at the 12 of them with an otherworldly attitude. Lin Shun looked forward to this scene, wiping out the other party's entire sect while talking and laughing. How free and domineering. If he, Lin Shun, had enough strength, why would he need to do so much? Fairy, your methods are extraordinary. I'm impressed. May we meet again. Fairy, thank you for showing mercy. I'll remember this kid. I won't touch a single strand of his hair again. The Heaven Dipper realm cultivators were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. They immediately escaped into the void. Sister Ruoyan, why didn't you kill them all? It's a pity to let them go, Lin Chen said regretfully. Byron retracted her aura and flicked Lin Chen's forehead with her slender fingers. Your elder sister still needs some time to recover her cultivation. If I kill all of them, the forces behind them will mobilize all of their forces. When they investigate the cause, they might send out true experts. At that time, it won't be so simple. Lin Shan was enlightened and asked curiously, didn't you say that only Heaven Dipper realm stage 5 and below can enter the secret realm by consuming secret medicine? Sister, your cultivation has exceeded the limit, right? When you cured me of the poison for the 2nd time, I purposely suppressed my cultivation so that it wouldn't rebound. That's why I was able to sneak into the secret realm. Byron stepped lightly on the void and floated up. Brother Lin Shun, I'll remember your kindness. From now on, I'll be in seclusion for a period of time. When I'm out, I'll look for you. I hope you can step into the Heaven Dipper realm. With your potential, the Heaven Dipper realm is just the beginning. Byron smiled and waved her hand. Lin Shin quickly asked, Sister Ruoyan, you're leaving so soon? My enemies aren't what you can imagine. Recovering my strength is the most important thing. See you. The fairy smiled sweetly and bid farewell to Lin Shan before transforming into a wisp of smoke in the horizon and silently vanishing. Looking at the direction where the beauty had left, Lin Shen's heart was filled with endless melancholy. She was like a fairy that only existed in the heavens. She was always by your side, but one day, she suddenly left without any mental preparation. If you miss her so much, why don't you just go with her? A cold and ethereal voice came from behind. Lin Chen quivered. He had almost forgotten about his beautiful teacher. Teacher, let's go back to the academy together? Lin Chen smiled embarrassedly. Lung Yuechi looked at him coldly and said in a cold tone, Go back by yourself. I'm going back to my family. After saying that, Lung Yueqi stepped into the air, intending to leave. Lin Shen wanted to say something. Normally, he had a glib tongue, but now he didn't know what to say. Lung Yueqi saw all of this with her eyes. Seeing the youth standing there dejectedly, her beautiful figure paused for a moment before she calmly said, "My family is the Lung Yu family of a spirit state. If you have time, you can come take a look." Hearing this, Lin Shen immediately became spirited again and said with a mischievous smile, "Teacher, the matter under the snow mountain, that will depend on whether you have the guts to come and find me after you participate in the General Academy examination." Lung Yueqi was like a nimble fairy, turning into a stream of light in the horizon. "I will definitely go. At that time, I will make a real wedding dress for teacher." Lin Shen shouted towards the direction where the beauty had left. He watched Lung Yueqi until she disappeared into the distance. "Let's return to the academy first. I wonder how everyone is doing." The true flame purple phoenix wings flapped with blazing purple flames. Lin Shen's figure instantly disappeared in the sky above the sea. The heavenly Chilan Island was extremely far from the desolate region. It passed through the nether region of the 24 regions. Previously, they could arrive so quickly because of Bai Ruoyan's team. Now that Lin Shen flew back with the purple phoenix wings, it would take at least half a month to reach the desolate region. With Lin Shen's foundation, flying at full speed with the true flame purple phoenix wings for half a month was a bit too much for him. If he summoned the ancient azure dragon, it would easily attract the attention of powerful masters, not to mention that he was passing through the nether region. If he encountered 2 heaven realm masters, Lin Shen would not be able to escape so easily. 10 days later, 37,000 miles north of the nether region, Sky Tiger Dynasty. The Sky Tiger Dynasty was powerful and prosperous. The emperor was even respected as a heaven realm master. He had great power and unified the region. However, the dynasty had been developing for many years, causing the common people to suffer. The living environment of the officials and the common people was very different. In the capital of the dynasty, Lin Shen was wearing a cloak and a black robe. He looked like an ascetic cultivator passing by. He walked out of a restaurant. He had been passing by this dynasty for a day and a night. He was just temporarily looking for a place to rest and recover his spirit and consumed battle chi. "I have rested enough. Let's continue." Lin Shen found an empty alley. Just as he was about to spread the purple phoenix wings and fly into the sky, a streak of light flew across the sky at extreme speed. Lin Shen looked over. The streak of light flying across the sky was actually a pure and flawless snow-white flying horse. It had a pair of wings, and its hooves stepped on the clouds. It was extraordinarily handsome. It rode on the clouds and flew towards the direction of the dynasty. However, on the snow-white flying horse stood 2 exquisite figures, one purple and one green. They instantly caught Lin Shen's attention. It's Ning Qingxian and Ning Qingxue." Lin Shen was shocked. The snow-white flying horse was extremely fast. It swept across the sky in an instant and flew towards the palace in the dynasty. Could it be that I saw wrongly? Who cares? Let's enter the imperial city first. The purple phoenix wings flapped, and Lin Shen soared into the sky. The purple flames tore through the air and followed closely behind the flying horse. In the imperial city, in a pavilion in the back garden, the ministers kneeling outside the pavilion did not dare to breathe loudly. The people who arrived in the dynasty today were all famous alchemists in the nether realm. It was said that even some forces from the ancient times passed by here and personally treated the king's chronic illness. Not long after, a group of old men wearing noble medicine, refining brocade robes walked out of the attic. They shook their heads and sighed repeatedly. "Sigh, this old man has refined medicine for so many years. This is the first time I've seen such a strange illness. It's too difficult. His Majesty cultivates the heavenly tiger heart-rending art. He has the heavenly tiger's strength and heart-rending battle chi in his body. But he just had to encounter a strange poison like the 7-inch poison. The 7-inch poison belongs to the Yin attribute. It is extremely difficult to remove. It also absorbs the positive yang battle chi. His Majesty's heavenly tiger's strength has been completely absorbed and restrained. At this moment, a disdainful sneer entered everyone's ears. What a bunch of trash. What's so difficult about the 7-inch poison? It seems that the 24 regions are full of ignorant and incompetent trash. How dare you call yourselves alchemists? The young man sitting on the white jade soft chair said casually. He played with a pill recipe with one hand. He was wearing a white shirt and trousers. He had sharp eyebrows and phoenix eyes. His heroic spirit was compelling, and at the same time, there was a sense of unruliness. He looked down on all the alchemists present. Chapter 151. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak so arrogantly? Do you know who we are? When this old man was refining medicine, you were still in your mother's womb. Where did this yellow-haired brat come from? This young friend, may I ask if you have any advice? The white-robed youth spoke rudely, causing all the alchemists to be displeased. Some were already enraged and wanted to chase this child away. A bunch of lowly trash. Get lost. The youth waved his sleeves and kept the elixir recipe in his palm. A transparent battle chi wave was like a tsunami. Pong, pong, pong. 9th level of the Earth Realm? That's not right. How can a 9th level Earth Realm martial artist have such strength? The remaining alchemists were shocked and had appalled expressions. The veteran alchemist that was sent flying was also at the 9th level of the Earth Realm. But the difference between the two of them was like heaven and earth. This youth's strength wasn't as simple as his cultivation on the surface. Danqing, what are you doing? An ethereal voice that sounded like the sound of nature descended in front of the pavilion. The white-robed youth immediately withdrew his hand and bowed respectfully. All the alchemists were astonished. The snow-white Pegasus swept up a violent wind and landed in the courtyard. The kneeling officials quickly opened up a path. The purple muslin was soft and didn't reveal the beauty's true appearance. There weren't many decorations, and her long black hair cascaded down to her waist. A pair of purple gem-like eyes were spinning with ethereal elegance. When she walked over leisurely, it was as though time and space were frozen. Her beauty surpassed all the beautiful sceneries in the world. The beauty's bones revealed an innate nobility, and no one dared to have any disrespectful thoughts in their hearts. It was as though she was a supreme that was born by the heavens and earth. It was Ning Qingxian. Lin Chen met her once before. She was like a fairy and was suspected to be a saint lady. She actually appeared in the Sky Tiger dynasty. Behind Ning Qingxian was the mischievous Ning Qingxue, who followed her closely. Greetings to young lady. The white-robed youth's eyes flashed with deep admiration and reverence. He knelt on one knee and lowered his head respectfully. Danqing, I should have instructed that we are not to kill the innocent. If there's a next time, you can go back to your clan yourself. His ordinary tone caused the white-clothed young man's entire body to tremble. A look of panic flashed across his face as he hurriedly said, Yes, Danqing accepts the order. How's the matter I asked you to do? Can the emperor of this dynasty still be saved? Ning Qingxian asked seriously. The white-clothed young man replied respectfully. To answer, miss, I have a 50% chance of curing him. As for the remaining 50%, it will depend on his own luck. This person is already deeply poisoned, and his cultivation realm just so happens to meet the requirements of the poison. The poison is no small matter. The young man in white had an arrogant look on his face as he raised his voice. The expressions of the alchemists behind him all changed. A 50% probability. This was already a rather high probability. If it was really like this, then it could only mean that this young man's alchemy level was absolutely not on the same level as theirs. Then this old man will sit back and watch your excellencies move. A blue-clothed old man sneered. He was one of the Nether Realm's famous tier 5 alchemists. Even he himself did not have a 20% chance of curing him. Clearly, he did not think that the white-clothed young man had this kind of ability. The ministers outside the pavilion did not dare to interrupt at all, because there were not many people they could afford to offend here today. The entire Sky Tiger dynasty still had to rely on them to save their emperor's life. If it wasn't for Mrs. Instructions not to see blood, I would be able to deal with you lowly commoners with just one palm. The white-clothed young man transmitted his voice disdainfully. The former's expression was gloomy and uncertain. He stood up and respectfully asked for instructions. Since it is Mrs. Request, then Dan Xing will definitely do his best. Please enter the pavilion. Mississippi, Ning Qingxian nodded. She was about to enter the pavilion with Ning Qingxue when she suddenly turned around with a trace of a smile in her beautiful eyes. I didn't think that I would actually see you again here. The world is truly unpredictable. Don't you think so, Mr. Lin Shun? Everyone was shocked. As soon as Ning Qingxian finished speaking, the snow-white Pegasus suddenly let out a long neigh. It was suppressed and frightened by some kind of aura. Wrong. Miss Ning Qingxian is not Mr. Lin Shun. It is the elegant, handsome, and unrivaled little black dragon in the waves, Lin Shun. Purple flames engulfed the young man in silver robes. He was handsome and elegant, and there was a confident and calm smile on his face from the beginning to the end. Retracting his purple wings, Lin Shun walked slowly to Ning Qingxian. Ning Qingxue stuck her head out from behind Ning Qingxian and stared at Lin Shun with a smile. Wait, where did you come from, lowly commoner? How dare you approach my miss? The white-clothed young man's expression was sinister. He stood in front of the two girls and suddenly shouted coldly. His shoulders shook, and the raging waves of battle chi surged into the sky, knocking the ministers 100 meters away. Many Disher realm guards were so shaken that they could not even stand properly. The battle chi gale swept over and tried to forcefully suppress Lin Shun and embarrass him in front of everyone. However, Lin Shun stood calmly in the center of the battle chi gale. He stood there without moving and even took a step forward with a smile. 7th level of the Earth Realm? How long has it been? He is already at the 7th level of the Earth Realm. When he fought with Big Sister previously, he was only at the Spirit Connection Realm. Ning Qingxue covered her small mouth and sized up Lin Shun with curious eyes. This speed of advancement might be slightly comparable to the people in their clan. This brother is really considerate. How did you know that I came all the way here to look for little sister Qingxian? I was sweating profusely and wanted to take a breather. You are too considerate. Big brother, I should learn from you. I just can't do this. I'm always so considerate. Lin Shun walked up and grabbed the white-clothed young man's palm. He secretly circulated the ancient Azure Dragon's power and exerted a little more strength. His strength was already over 990,000 tigers. Huh, how did you? The white-clothed young man's mouth twitched. How could this kid's strength be so terrifying? His pure strength was far beyond the limits of the Earth Realm. All right, Mr. Lin Shun, why are you looking for me? Ning Qingxian intentionally stood in front of the white-clothed young man and smiled indifferently. Lin Shun understood and immediately let go of his hand. He spoke with a mocking tone. Can't I look for you if I don't have a reason? I don't remember there being such a rule between us, right? Hey, don't you dare take advantage of my big sister like last time. Otherwise, I will personally teach you a lesson. Ning Qingxue wrinkled her delicate nose and pretended to be fierce as she snorted. Last time was a misunderstanding. Moreover, I didn't take advantage of her that much. I only touched her once. Your big sister also touched me a few times. If we were to talk about it, I was the one at a disadvantage. Lin Shin's shameless behavior angered Ning Qingxue so much that she pursed her cherry lips. Her beautiful eyes were like a little white rabbit staring at Lin Shun fiercely. Last time, took advantage of her, touch her once. The white-clothed young man was shocked. His thin lips trembled and he gritted his teeth. His eyes were burning with jealousy. That handsome face faintly became a little ferocious and murderous. Chapter 152. All right, stop fooling around. Since Mr. Lin Chun doesn't have anything urgent to do, let's go in and take a look. I remember you're a pharmacist. Ning Qingxian interrupted the two and said helplessly. Neither of these two were willing to submit to the other. If they were to fight, it would delay a lot of things. With Ning Qingxian leading the way, Lin Chun, Ning Qingxue, and the other pharmacists entered the pavilion. The young man in white followed closely behind Lin Chun, his heart filled with killing intent. On the second floor, there was an open-air balcony. Pure yang spirit stones were placed around it, containing a strong yang aura. On top of the spirit stones, there was a man with a green face and tiger-like eyes. The man's eyebrows were thick and black, and his face was chiseled. Even with his eyes closed, he still had a domineering aura. On his chest, there were green vein-like patterns that wriggled like green snakes. It was very strange. This person. Lin Chun instinctively used his purple-gold eyes to take a look. The poison in this person's body had completely adhered to his body, completely eroding his internal organs. More importantly, more than half of his battle chi had been corroded by the poison. If it weren't for the extremely high-quality, pure yang spirit stones that gathered yang energy and forcibly suppressed part of the poison, he would have died long ago. How is it? Mr. Lin Chun, have you noticed anything? Ning Qingxian asked Lin Chen's opinion immediately. Perhaps it was because she had seen Lin Chen's various unique behaviors. She wanted to see how Lin Chun would react when faced with difficulties and danger. It's a bit troublesome. The poison has seeped into the meridians and even the internal organs. It's extremely difficult to completely remove it. The real problem is that the battle chi in the Dantian has also been eroded. If you want to remove it, you'll have to disperse your cultivation. The best result is that you can keep your life, but your battle chi will be destroyed. All the veteran alchemists sized Lin Chen up in bewilderment and curiosity. They had spent so much effort and energy to investigate the Emperor's injuries, but this kid had seen through it in a single breath? Wasn't this too monstrous? After saying that, Lin Chun smiled confidently and added another sentence. Of course, that's only if I don't do anything. Hee hee, in front of Mississippi. You dare to stick a spring onion in your pig's snout? What are you pretending for? So what if you can see it? Can you solve it? I have a 50% chance of restoring him to his original state without losing any of his cultivation. The young man in white sneered at Lin Chun with hostility. Beside him, Ning Qingxue was still mumbling as if she didn't care about the situation. Quick, cousin Ning Danqing, hit him. Hit him. This person is a bad guy who wants to take advantage of big sister all the time. With Ning Qingxue fanning the flames, Ning Danqing became even more emotional. She sneered. People are most afraid of not knowing their own limits. There is a huge difference between you and me. Don't even think about deceiving Mississippi. Oh, so arrogant. If I don't say anything, I'm afraid your tail will be raised all the way to the ninth heaven. Lin Chun was a little amused. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. Ning Qingxian was interested. She didn't seem to want to stop Lin Chun. Seeing that his miss was paying attention to him, Ning Danqing's blood boiled. He looked down on Lin Chun and said, If you don't agree, we can have a competition right now. Let's see who can cure him, and at the same time, let him regain his original cultivation. How about it? He didn't know that Ning Qingxian was paying more attention to Lin Chun. Not enough. A simple competition is too boring. Why don't we play something more interesting? Whoever loses will be punished. If both of us lose, then both of us will be punished. And the punishment content will be written on a piece of paper and put into the punishment box. You can draw lots freely. How about it? After saying that, Lin Chen took out an exquisite jade box and handed it to Ning Qingxian. Lin Chen's novel suggestion instantly attracted the playful little devil girl Ning Qingxue. She was the first to raise her hand. This is fun. So interesting. I'll decide first. Ning Qingxue excitedly wrote a small piece of paper. On it was clearly written, Please hold a chamber pot on your head, strip naked, and run around the entire imperial city naked. Some of the veteran alchemists sucked in a breath of cold air. That was too cruel. but it seemed to be quite fun. Everyone swarmed forward and wrote down their own strange ideas and punishments one after another. Things like doing a handstand to pee, kissing the ugliest woman in the dynasty 1,000 times, climbing all over the brothels like a tortoise. There was everything. Even Ning Qingxian, after looking deeply at Lin Shun, also put her own piece of paper into the jade box. When it was Lin Chen's turn, he shook his head and said disappointedly, "That won't do. Your punishments are too kind. Watch me." Lin Chen picked up the brush and started writing. The tip of the brush danced. The brush stopped and fell. Lin Chen walked in front of the jade box and showed the content of his piece of paper. Everyone looked at it attentively. It was clearly written, "Located in the most populated place in the capital, complete the following posture and maintain it for 15 minutes. Put your palms behind your back, put your palms together, and turn your palms backwards. Insert your toes into your nostrils, and lick your tongue until the tip of your nose." Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. That was too cruel. To think that he could think of something like this. If he were to draw this lot, then his reputation would be completely ruined. Ning Qingshue's eyes lit up when she saw Lin Chen's piece of paper. It was as if she found a treasure. She looked at the two of them expectantly. Who would be the loser to complete this action? Just thinking about it made her excited. Finally, it was Ning Danqing's turn. He looked at Lin Shun viciously and put the piece of paper in. Before putting it in the jade box, he purposely showed the content of the piece of paper for everyone to see. It was actually commit suicide on the spot. If the loser drew this lot, then wouldn't he die? Since both of you are so confident, then let me be the witness for this punishment competition. Ning Qingshuan's slender finger pointed lightly. A ray of colorful battle qi sealed the jade box. No one could peek or take away what was inside. Which one of you will go first? I can't wait to see the result. Ning Qingxue waved her little fists excitedly. Her white canine teeth were exposed. She was very charming. Of course, the most handsome and the best will go first. People who are confident are never in a hurry. Right, little sister Qingxue? Lin Shun crossed his arms in front of his chest and looked like he was watching a show. Ning Qingxue stuck out her tongue in disdain. Stop pretending to be a wolf. Ning Danqing flicked his sleeve in disdain and walked to the emperor's side. Reaching out his palm, Ning Danqing sent a ray of battle qi and spiritual energy to check the emperor's body. In less than a quarter of an hour, Ning Danqing stood up. His expression was serious. He took out a dark yellow cauldron on the spot. The cauldron was engraved with deep and ancient patterns. It had two dark yellow cauldrons on top, like two roaring dragons. Seeing this cauldron, many alchemists' pupils shrank. Even with their experience, they couldn't tell the origin and grade of this cauldron. Chapter 153. Go and find these herbs for me. Although you mortals don't have much in your treasury, you should still have these things. Ning Danqing flicked his finger, and a list of herbs shot out from his fingertip. The official who received the list looked at it carefully, and his expression changed slightly. He gritted his teeth and cupped his fists. Okay, please wait a moment. When the official went to fetch the herbs, Ning Danqing and the others sat down cross-legged and took out 10 main herbs from their storage rings, and suddenly activated their powerful battle qi. Flying extinction pill refining seal. Ning Danqing's ring finger and index finger joined together, and his middle finger bent together. His mental power rushed out like lightning, and the pill refining seal was quickly formed. 2 harmonious spirit berries immediately flew into the mysterious yellow pill furnace, and the entire furnace was suddenly filled with his battle qi. Metal battle qi intertwined inside the furnace, and like 2 sharp knives, the tips of the knives quickly cut the outer skin of the harmonious spirit berries and extracted their essence. With a flick of 2 fingers, another 5th-level blood drinker flower was sucked into the furnace. For streams of metal battle qi were like 4 sharp knives, fiercely and quickly cutting off the roots of the blood drinker flower, leaving only the essence of the flower. The alchemy masters present all looked dignified, and they were all stunned. Too fast, too refined. This level of pill refining seal and technique was many times stronger than the seals they cultivated. To have such speed and maintain a high level of precision in pill refining, it required a very strong mental power to have a slight possibility of doing it. His pill refining seal is not ordinary either. It's at least green rank or above. Maybe it's the same rank as my 8 Desolation mystical fire seal. Sure enough, Ning Qingshuan's people are not to be trifled with. How powerful is the force behind her? Using a green rank or above pill refining seal, as soon as he made a move, Lin Shen couldn't help but be surprised by the force behind Ning Qingxian. A green rank pill refining seal was already at the peak of the waste region, and there were only a few green rank pill refining seals in the entire 24 domains. Not to mention a seal of the same rank as his 8 Desolation mystical fire. A follower by Ning Qingshuan's side was actually able to produce an alchemy hand seal that was above the blue rank. With such a background, it was hard to imagine how great her background was. Stinky hooligan, what's wrong? Are you feeling pressured? Ning Qingxue glanced at Lin Shun and smiled like a flower. Pressure? He doesn't make me feel pressured. I'm just thinking about your sister. Moreover, I already roughly know what kind of medicinal pill he wants to refine. The possibility of him being able to cure this emperor is not even 20%. Lin Shen smiled calmly. Even Ning Qingxian couldn't help but look at him curiously. Your Excellency's herbs have been prepared. There are 2 sets of each. The eunuch who had left earlier hurriedly ran into the attic, handed over a spirit storage ring, and reported respectfully. Ning Danxing waved her sleeve and sucked the spirit receiving ring into her hand. With a flick of her finger, she undid the spiritual seal on the spirit receiving ring. All the herbs inside fell out. More than 100 sets of herbs fell onto the floor. All of them were rare level 4 and level 3 herbs. Ning Danxing raised her hands, and 7 to 8 herbs were sucked into the furnace at lightning speed. Her refined metal elemental battle chi quickly cut off the herbs. Her speed was more than 10 times faster than normal pill refining speed. As expected of a prodigy from an ancient force, just her pill refining speed is more than 10 times faster than mine. The blue rank alchemy hand seal is indeed worthy of its reputation. The only level 5 alchemist present shook his head and sighed. He thought that he was the best alchemist present this time, who knew that there would always be someone better than him. In less than 15 minutes, another dozen herbs were sucked into the furnace. Ning Danxing began to sweat profusely, but she still maintained a high speed of pill refining. Lin Shen laughed in his heart and shook his head slightly. He could see that Ning Danxing's alchemy hand seal was based on speed and efficiency. However, if he tried so hard, the consumption of spiritual energy would increase exponentially. Once he failed, there would not be a second chance. Time passed. Everyone had observed for less than 2 days. When the last level 5 Yang Bee's core was added, the energy in the entire furnace began to fluctuate violently. Close. Ning Danxing's hand seal changed again, sealing all the energy. Not even a trace of pill fragrance leaked out. The condensed pill cloud's energy was then absorbed by the pills in the furnace. This miraculous technique left the alchemist surprised and puzzled. When a high-grade pill was born, there was not even a pill cloud. This is the pill receiving technique. It allows all the energy in the pill to be reintegrated into the pill before it's out of the furnace, allowing the pill to be produced without any loss of energy. It's a transcendent technique that can only be used when one has a unique understanding of certain pills' refinement. The only level 5 alchemist gasped in amazement. Although he was unwilling, he had to admit that observing the pill refining this time had improved his own skills immediately. A pill the size of a longan fruit, its entire body suffused with a milky white light, floated up from the pill furnace. A faint medicinal fragrance floated up. Several alchemists only took a light sniff and found that their internal organs were glowing with new vitality. Some waste and impurities were quietly evaporated. Level 5 low-grade pill. Spirit cleansing pill. It consolidates one's foundation, heals injuries, and detoxifies. It can cleanse the martial artist's internal organs, meridians, blood, and even all the toxins hidden in the battle chi. Ning Danxing raised the milky white pill up high and announced arrogantly. Just by the energy emitted by the pill and the explanation, all the alchemists admitted that they were inferior. This pill could be called a real detoxification divine pill. If it was auctioned outside, it would definitely cause a fight among the Heaven Dipper realm. Carrying this pill with you was equivalent to having an extra life at a critical moment. The value was self-evident. Sigh, this spirit cleansing pill, if it was me who refined it, the success rate would not be higher than 20%, let alone refining it in 2 days. I'm sincerely convinced. That level 5 low-grade alchemist was sincerely convinced, and his attitude towards Ning Danxing was extremely respectful. The alchemist's domain and battle chi cultivation were the same. Strength was king. Ning Danxing used his strength to convince this alchemist. Ning Danxing's eyes had a hint of provocation as he turned to look at Lin Shun. How is it? Do you have confidence? You can't be worse than him, right? Ning Qingxue seemed to be provoking and winked playfully at Lin Shun. Lin Shun seemed to have seen through something. He forcefully suppressed the urge to laugh in his heart as he calmly said, "Don't worry, let's see the results first. If he can't cure it, even if he has a level 5 high-grade pill, it's useless." Ning Danxing mocked disdainfully. "I'd like to see which punishment lot you're going to draw later." He walked to the front of the Emperor of the Sky Tiger Dynasty, opened his lips with his fingertips, and pushed the spirit-cleansing pill into his mouth. Chapter 154. The pill melted in his mouth, turning into a white light that flowed down his throat and into his entire body. The dazzling white light was like an aurora, shining from the Emperor's chest all the way to his dantian. Everyone was looking forward to it, especially the ministers. They were so nervous that their palms were sweating. If their Emperor was unable to recover from this setback, they would be eyed covetously by their enemies. The Sky Tiger Dynasty only had one Heaven Star Border Realm expert. If they were to lose him, their deterrence would be gone. Chi, chi, chi. Wisps of green mist rose from the Emperor's body, giving off strange chi, chi, chi sounds. Under the pressure of the white light from the spirit-cleansing pill, the Emperor's entire body was emitting green mist. His face started to regain some color. Even with his Earth Realm cultivation, he could clearly feel that the Emperor's poison was gradually being removed. Ha ha! Did you see that? A lowly commoner like you can never refine such an effective detoxification pill. Ning Danxing laughed maniacally in high spirits. At this moment, he was almost 80% confident that he could save the Emperor's life while preserving his cultivation. Lin Qin shrugged casually. "It's not like you're entering the bridal chamber with the bride. Why are you in such a hurry? Let's wait and see." Looking at the calm Lin Shun, Ning Qingshuan's purple eyes flashed with curiosity and anticipation. She was looking forward to seeing what Lin Shun saw that made him so calm. Accompanied by the green smoke, the Emperor's entire body twitched. Suddenly, his face turned slightly redder, and a few breaths came from his throat. Cough, cough, cough. He coughed violently for a few times, exhaling even more green smoke. His complexion started to improve, and he started to look like a normal person. However, what everyone didn't realize was that although the Emperor had recovered so well, he still hadn't fully regained his consciousness. The green smoke gradually decreased, and the white light became stronger. Just when everyone thought that it was about to end, there was a loud boom. Boom! A shocking, murderous aura emerged from the Emperor's body, shaking the entire pavilion. What's going on? Look, what is that thing that came out of His Majesty's body? Everyone cried out in alarm. At the position of the Emperor's dantian, a thick dark green mist was rising. The mist transformed into the appearance of a ferocious tiger. Its eyes were suffused with a faint green light, and it was filled with a murderous aura. As the dark green tiger counterattacked, the lustrous white light that had been unstoppable before suddenly became extremely dim, as if it would be extinguished at any moment. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded. Lin Shan couldn't help but throw his head back and laugh. Ha ha ha! Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Isn't it exciting? Ning Danxing found it hard to believe, and even had a hint of panic. That's impossible. My mind cleansing marrow cleansing pill's medicinal strength is extremely strong. How can it not deal with a 7 green-inch poison? Even the alchemy grandmasters couldn't figure out what was going on. They had seen how powerful the medicinal strength of the spirit cleansing marrow cleansing pill was. Just a wisp of pill fragrance was superior to a tier 3 medicinal pill. This kind of medicinal pill should have no problem against a 7-inch poison. How could the disparity be so great? I understand. The poison in this mortal's body isn't the 7 green-inch poison at all. It's another kind of poison that's even more terrifying. Damn it, how could this be? The panicked Ning Qingxian said in exasperation. Only Lin Shan and Ning Qingxian smiled as if they had seen through the truth of the matter. That's enough. Ignorant is ignorant. This is the 7 green-inch poison. At this moment, Lin Shan finally stood up and smiled lightly. All the alchemy grandmasters who didn't see through the truth of the matter turned to look at him. If it's been a month since he was poisoned, this spirit cleansing marrow cleansing pill can be vicious. But this emperor has been poisoned for at least 9 months. He has already absorbed the battle chi of a Heaven Star Realm cultivator for 9 months and has long become a poisonous beast. Lin Shan was in high spirits as he talked and laughed, as if he was giving advice. Yes, His Majesty resisted the poison with battle chi at first, but it's true that he's been poisoned for close to 10 months. Some ministers nodded in agreement. When the alchemy grandmasters thought of the characteristics of the 7 green-inch poison, they were all enlightened. So that's it. Ning Danxing gnashed his teeth in anger and glared at Lin Shan with hatred and ferocity. Why are you glaring at me? I'm not the 7 green-inch poison. If you're angry, go find it. Lin Shan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He pointed at the tiger head-shaped 7 green-inch poison that emerged from the emperor's body. Ning Danxing, if you're not convinced, you can continue to treat him. Ning Qingxian said calmly. The muscles on Ning Danxing's face trembled violently, and his eyes suddenly dimmed. I don't think there's a better detoxification pill than the spirit cleansing marrow cleansing pill, but I don't think he can detoxify the poison, Ning Danxing said in a hoarse voice as he clasped his fist unwillingly. Ha ha ha. You can't do it doesn't mean I can't. Even if the whole world can't do it, it doesn't mean that I, Lin Shan, can't do it. Lin Shan laughed heartily, and there was a domineering aura in his laughter. He walked forward and looked at the emperor, whose face had turned pale again. The dark green, 7 green-inch poison was still causing trouble. It's time to show some real skills. You go and collect these herbs. Lin Shan flicked the list of herbs that he had prepared in advance to the previous official. The latter took a look and couldn't help but be shocked. So many? Sir, you're robbing our national treasury. Their dynasty had already lost a lot in order to hire so many master alchemists. If they were to prepare according to Lin Shan's list of herbs, their dynasty's national treasury would really be empty. So what if you have a lot of herbs? Compared to curing your emperor, what's more important? You can choose for yourselves. Lin Shan shrugged and said nonchalantly. He thought of the day when the Tianhu dynasty could no longer be without a monarch. If the emperor passed away, the dynasty would definitely be destroyed. Thinking of this result, the loyal old official gritted his teeth and left the pavilion. I'd like to see what you can do. Ning Danxing sneered, unwilling to admit defeat. The master alchemists all looked at Lin Shan in surprise. From how he could see through the emperor's foundation, he shouldn't be an ordinary person. However, everyone could see how troublesome the situation was. Even if they invited some veteran level 5 master alchemists, they might not be able to solve the problem. Level 5 master alchemists were almost extinct in the Nether Realm. Even if there were, the Tianhu dynasty wouldn't be able to invite them. Bang! Lin Shun went up and kicked the pure yang spirit stones that were helping the emperor suppress the poison. Everyone was so shocked that they instantly turned pale with fright. Lin Shin was still Lin Shin after all. Once he made a move, he would never act according to normal logic. Chapter 155. What are you doing? Are you crazy? That fifth stage alchemist grandmaster suddenly roared. He was the one who suggested placing the pure yang spirit stone to resist the poison. Wasn't Lin Shun slapping his old face with this kick? It's not up to you to tell me what to do. This pure yang spirit stone is adding fuel to the fire. I kicked it away to save this person. Lin Shun waved his hand casually. With a few punches and kicks, he sent all the pure yang spirit stones around the emperor flying. Bullsh asterisk T. His Majesty cultivates the yang cultivation method. This pure yang spirit stone can help his battle chi resist the poison. You're trying to kill him. The chief alchemy master in the imperial city was so angry that his face turned red as he shouted at Lin Shun. Ha ha! I thought you really had a solution. It turns out that you're just going for broke. Ning Danqing was in a bad mood and laughed hysterically. Lin Shun glanced at them disdainfully and said indifferently, "A bunch of idiots." After that, Lin Shun couldn't be bothered with these noisy fellows. With a wave of his hand, he took out the pill furnace. The pill furnace that Lin Shun took out this time was a treasure that he had obtained from robbing those veteran Heaven Star Realm cultivators in the Earth Emanation's Evil King's secret realm. It was called the Abyss Furnace. The pill furnace gave off a deep black light. It was 10 feet tall, 7 holes, and 4 handles on the top of the furnace. It was made from meteorites from outer space. Just by looking at its appearance, it wasn't inferior to the yellow pill furnace that Ning Danqing took out just now. Everyone, don't be anxious. Take a look at the situation of the poisoned person. Just as many people were about to explode in anger, Ning Qingxian spoke elegantly. Everyone immediately kept quiet out of fear. When they looked at the emperor again, they were surprised to find that without the pure yang spirit stone, the 7-inch poison in the emperor's body seemed to be less intense. It was as if a living being had lost some vitality. It was extremely strange. Ning Danqing's eyes widened in disbelief. "Sister, what's going on?" Ning Qingxua didn't understand the situation and asked curiously. "Mr. Lin Shun, please clear everyone's doubts," Ning Qingxian said with a smile when she saw the puzzled gazes of the crowd. Seeing Ning Qingxian speak, Lin Chen slowly said, "The principle is very simple. 7-inch poison is an Yin-type poison. If it encounters Yang-type battle chi or energy, it will absorb it in a frenzy. Although the Emperor was a Heaven Dipper realm cultivator, he might be able to resist the poison at first, but he wouldn't be able to eradicate it completely. For a long time, more than half of his battle aura had been corroded by the 7-inch poison. His battle aura was now completely mixed with the poison. If I continue to provide energy support to his battle chi, it will be equivalent to increasing the nourishment of the 7-inch poison. The one who will harm him will not be me, but those who have been continuously supplying him with spirit stones." Only then did everyone wake up from their daze. Why didn't they think of this point? Instead, they naively thought that adding a few more yang attribute spirit stones would help His Majesty resist the poison's corrosion. Now that they saw it, they were really scared. You can even detect it like this. Wow, this hooligan is so powerful. That beginner stage 5 alchemy master was sweating profusely. If this matter were to spread out, his reputation would be ruined. How did this lowly commoner discover all this? Could it be that his alchemy skills are above mine? Ning Danqing's lips and teeth trembled slightly. Cold sweat poured down his face, and his face became pale and weak. Lin Shen didn't care about the others' gazes. He took out many heavenly treasures from his spirit storage ring. There was a dazzling array of medicinal herbs. There were a total of 17 kinds, and all of them were stage 5. Some of them were even stage 5 intermediate. These were all obtained by Lin Shun in the Evil King's secret realm a month after he left the temple. To him, Using such a batch of medicinal herbs wouldn't affect his foundation. This time, the loyal old official used almost a day to prepare all the medicinal herbs. When he returned, he handed over 7 spirit storage rings to Lin Chun. This made many alchemy masters' eyelids twitch. Was this a F** king robbery? How many medicinal herbs would it take to fill 7 spirit storage rings? Very good. Master Lin took the 7 spirit storage rings naturally. After checking them, he took out all the medicinal herbs from 2 spirit storage rings. Then, he openly put the remaining 5 spirit storage rings into his pocket. This action made the alchemy masters' scalps tingle and the corners of their mouths twitched. This brat was clearly going to make a big deal out of the Sky Tiger dynasty in broad daylight. They were all experienced alchemy masters, and it was normal for them to receive benefits. However, this was the first time they saw someone as shameless and open as Lin Chun. After putting away the spirit storage rings, Lin Chun's expression became more serious than ever. As far as Lin Chun was concerned, he had never encountered an opportunity where he could use his full strength to refine pills. However, this was his chance to test the limits of his alchemy skills. The elixir he was going to make was Stage 5 Intermediate. This grade of elixir was rare, even in the spiritual state. It's very difficult to make the elixir directly into a finished product, and the medicinal effects won't be perfect. Maybe I can use another method to avoid these problems. He patted the abyss furnace with his palm and crossed his index and middle fingers. Pure and domineering fire, elemental battle aura, and mental strength gathered at his fingertips. A ball of fire entered the furnace, and Lin Chun quickly formed a hand seal. His 3 middle fingers were bent and closed, and his thumb and little fingers were pressed together. An orange-red pill seal appeared in the furnace. Go! With a flick of his finger, 10 medicinal herbs flew into the air and entered the furnace. Lin Chun decisively threw in a blazing lava lizard's vicious beast core. What kind of alchemy method was this? The alchemy masters were confused, and they couldn't understand it at all. This was the first time they saw someone throw in a vicious beast core at the beginning of alchemy, and it was even with the initial medicinal herbs. What was going on? However, even if he was fooling around, judging from his mental strength and alchemy hand seals, this kid was no weaker than Ning Danqing. His alchemy hand seals changed rapidly, and under the control of his mental strength, the fire elemental battle aura in the orange-red pill seal became precise and sharp. His mental strength guided with high precision, and the fire elemental battle aura was like a halberd, lifting, slashing, cutting, and piercing. The blazing lava lizard removed the complicated energy and superfluous matter from the 10 medicinal herbs in no time. Lin Chun reacted quickly, and he put his palms together, spirit drive liquefying. The 10 medicinal herbs that had just been removed from the furnace were immediately shattered by the high temperature into a spiritual liquid with pure energy. The blazing lava lizard's vicious beast core was spinning crazily, and streaks of reddish-gray air were separated. These were the impurities of the vicious beast core, and they couldn't be absorbed easily. With a flick of his finger, Lin Chun shot out a wisp of energy to make the emperor open his mouth. The green spiritual liquid shot out from the furnace and flowed into the emperor's mouth and nose. Then, the blazing lava lizard's vicious beast core was pulled out by Lin Chun. Using his battle aura, he suspended the vicious beast core in the emperor's lower abdomen. At this moment, something strange happened. The dark green, poisonous smoke of the 7 green-inch poison actually started to be absorbed into the vicious beast core. Chapter 156. Before anyone could react, Lin Chun threw in more than 10 types of herbs. This time, his refining speed was even faster. The consumption of spiritual power was twice as much as before. With lightning speed, he refined 30 types of 4th-level herbs and sent them into the emperor's mouth. The absorption speed of the 7-inch poison increased by a bit. The emperor's complexion gradually recovered, and his thick black eyebrows trembled for a moment. The loyal old official looked at the emperor with tears in his eyes, full of anticipation. With a flip of his palm, more than 70 types of herbs were sent into the cauldron. Lin Shen began another round of unknown refining. He took out 12 high-quality silver needles from the spirit storage ring and placed them in the center of the herbs to refine them together. All the essences of the herbs were finally refined into the silver needles. The 12 silver needles turned crimson red, condensing a film-like energy layer. Lin Shen took out the silver needles and quickly pierced them into the emperor's temples, Tianling, Zhengmai, and Tianquan acupoints. With each silver needle, the emperor's body became fiery red and boiling hot, emitting steam from his body. What kind of technique was this? The alchemy masters were stunned by Lin Shen's unique acupuncture technique. Some of their eyes were even shining, and the admiration in their eyes was so great that they almost wanted to be apprenticed to him on the spot. Ning Danxing shook her head in disbelief, muttering words like impossible in her mouth. Lin Shen's acupuncture technique was smooth like flowing water. Ning Qingshue's eyes were filled with stars, and she kept shaking Ning Qingshuan's sleeves. Sister, is he refining pills? He should be dividing the steps into several parts, and then injecting them into the target's body with a special technique. Ning Qingxian was as beautiful as a painting, and under her veil, she revealed an appreciative and admiring smile. Halfway through, the 5th-level alchemy master slapped his thigh. This old man understands now. This kid is concocting some kind of high-grade pill, but he is using different steps and methods to bring out the medicinal properties to perfection before injecting them into His Majesty's body, so that the medicinal properties of the pill can be brought out even more perfectly. He looked fervently at Lin Shen. Just how much experience had he accumulated? Just how much understanding of the pill recipe had he reached the peak of perfection before he dared to make such a bold and brand new modification? Moreover, his miraculous needle technique was also a major point. What kind of divine being was this child? How could he have so many miraculous methods? After the acupuncture was over, Lin Shen poured the last batch of herbs into the pill furnace. At this time, he was already sweating profusely. This kind of alchemy was not inferior to Lin Shen skipping ranks and fighting with a powerful heavenly Dipperel powerhouse, or even more. 8 Baron Xian Flame, 8-layer quenching. Lin Shen overlapped his hands and slammed them together. 8 pill seals floated up from the top of the pill furnace. Streaks of fiery dragon-like energy permeated through all the medicinal herbs, releasing the domineering aura of a monarch. Many people were shaken to the point of retreating. Could it be that his alchemy hand seals are of a higher grade than mine? Ning Danxing clenched his teeth tightly. A touch of fear and hysterical madness was born in his heart. The last batch of medicinal herbs was suppressed by Lin Shen into a ball of fiery, red energy spirit liquid. When it merged with the emperor's body, an ear-piercing screech was heard from his dantian. Zzz. A series of green smoke rose, and a faint white light shone from the emperor's abdomen. It actually helped Lin Shen expel the last batch of 7-inch poison, which was completely burned into nothingness by the fierce beast core. This scene was very interesting in everyone's eyes. Previously, the residual medicinal power of Ning Danxing's spirit cleansing marrow cleansing pill had actually helped Lin Shen get rid of the 7 green-inch poison faster. Their own efforts were actually used for others. Some alchemy masters were secretly holding back their laughter. Brother Danxing, you're really a great person. You actually helped me, your brother. I'm very grateful for your help. Although Lin Shen's entire body was drenched in sweat, he still had a serious smile on his face. Ning Danxing was so angry that his veins were exposed. He was like a wild beast that was about to pounce on Lin Shen and tear him apart. Poochie. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, the emperor suddenly opened his eyes and spat out a large mouthful of green-red blood. Everyone was overjoyed. He woke up. The emperor actually woke up. A miracle had happened. The 7-inch poison was such a potent poison. Not only was it completely eradicated, but he also woke up immediately after the poison was removed. It was not an exaggeration to call it a miracle. All the alchemy masters looked at Lin Chen's figure with almost worshipful eyes. This ingenious and unique alchemy competition opened a new door for all the alchemy masters. Their admiration for Lin Chen surpassed any alchemy master they had ever seen. 2 days and 2 nights had passed during Lin Chen's intense and exciting alchemy process. The 7-inch poison was completely forced out of the emperor. With his cultivation of Heaven's Star Border Stage 1, he immediately woke up and regained his consciousness. How long have I been unconscious? The emperor struggled to get up. Several old officials and maidservants hurried over to support him. Your Majesty, you're finally awake. You fell into a coma 3 months after resisting the 7-inch poison. You've been unconscious for half a year. Several old officials were in tears as they knelt beside the emperor. Your Master Qian? Master Lu and Master Shi as well. Are you the ones who cured me? The emperor recognized many familiar faces and greeted them with cupped fists. No, Your Majesty, you're exaggerating. How could we possibly have the ability to treat you? It was Miss Ning who passed by our dynasty and was concerned about the development of our people. The one who kindly assisted Your Majesty and cured your dragon body was Miss Ning's little friend, Lin Chen. The chief alchemy master in the palace hurriedly spoke. The emperor's eyes flashed. Although his body was weak, he still had experience. He recognized Ning Qingshuan's extraordinariness and immediately said respectfully, Your humble servant, Xing Tianhu. Thanks Miss Ning for her help. In front of Ning Qingxian, the emperor did not dare to call himself Your Majesty. Your Majesty, there's no need to be so polite. I naturally have a prize for saving you. I passed by your dynasty a few days ago. Although the dynasty is flourishing, the people are suffering. They're like fire and water. I hope that you'll be able to repay the kindness of your help in overcoming the crisis of life and death to the hundreds of millions of people in the dynasty. I hope that you'll be able to rebuild the system of the dynasty so that everyone has the right to pursue happiness. Ning Qingshuan's ethereal voice was like a goddess announcing the judgment of the heavens. There was a trace of supreme dignity that could not be disobeyed. Xing Tianhu's body trembled as he respectfully replied, Yes, your humble servant will follow Mrs. Instructions and treat the people as the heavens. I'll fix the system of the dynasty and return the mountains and rivers to the people. I'll help the people. Chapter 157. You've just finished detoxifying, so we won't disturb you for now. After your cultivation stabilizes, it won't be too late for us to talk about it in detail. Ning Qingxian turned and left. The other alchemists, Ning Danxing and Ning Qingshu, all left the loft one by one. Among the people who left, only Lin Shan was frowning. Outside the loft, Danxing, you've already lost 1-1-4 in this competition. Ning Qingxian turned to look at Ning Danxing and said indifferently. The latter's body shook. Ning Qingxue revealed her white canine teeth and smiled as she held the jade box sealed with battle chi and placed it in front of Ning Danxing. Draw it. You can't even beat a hooligan. You deserve this punishment. Ning Danxing was so angry that he was shaking. He took a deep breath and put his hand into the jade box with an expression that was ready to die. Everyone in the audience looked at Ning Danxing expectantly. What punishment would he draw? If he drew his own, he would be turned into ashes on the spot. With this lady's personality, she would definitely not be soft-hearted. After hesitating for a while, Ning Danxing's hand slowly reached out from a box. But when he opened the contents of the punishment slip, he first let out a sigh of relief. But before he could relax, the corner of his mouth trembled violently. Ha ha! Lin Shun and Ning Qingshue's laughter sounded almost at the same time. When everyone activated their battle chi and looked carefully, the punishment slip that Ning Danqing drew was Lin Chen's. Punishment slip. Located at the most populated location in the capital, complete the following posture and maintain it for 15 minutes. Put your palms behind your back, put your hands together, and turn your palms backwards. Insert your toes into your nostrils, and lick your tongue until the tip of your nose. This punishment slip was much more ruthless than the others. Other than Ning Danqing's own suicide slip, this was the most ruthless. Please begin your performance. Lin Chen laughed until tears almost came out of his eyes. Ning Qingxue stared at Ning Danqing expectantly. My lady, Ning Danqing wanted to speak, but Ning Qingshuan's tone became cold. Ning Danqing, how can a member of my clan go back on his words? With just one sentence, Ning Danqing immediately kept quiet out of fear. She pursed her lips and gritted her teeth. Since Mrs. said so, I'll do as you say. In the Sky Tiger dynasty, there was a Sky Tiger Plaza in the center of the capital. The number of people, there was always more than 1 million. Today, as the sun set in the west, Tianhu Square was bustling with people. Normally, the announcement platform was used for emergency announcements within the dynasty. But today, a young man with a heroic spirit had suddenly appeared on the stage. He was dressed in white, with dashing eyebrows, a straight back, and a slender figure. He had the appearance of a young girl's dream lover. Before anyone realized who this person was and why he had appeared on the emergency platform in Tianhu Square, he made a shocking move. He saw him sitting on the ground with his palms clasped behind his back. Then he lifted his bare feet, crossed his toes, and inserted them into his nostrils. All the commoners, sects, trade caravans, peddlers, and soldiers who passed by Tianhu Square were shocked as they stared at this handsome young man with their mouths agape. Oh my God, what is this handsome young man doing? What a good young master. Why is there something wrong with his brain? Sigh. Oh my God, he seems to be an expert at the Earth realm. Oldly, are you sure you didn't see wrongly? How is it possible for such a young Earth realm expert? Where did this idiot come from? He looks so dignified and upright. Much better than those hedonistic young masters. Why would he do such a stupid thing? What kind of posture is that? I've never seen it before. Just as the crowd was shocked, Ning Danqing was so angry that his teeth were about to shatter. But he still tried his best to open his mouth, and then the tip of his tongue slowly licked the tip of his nose, and everyone gasped. Ruthless. Really ruthless. Lin Xiao and Ning Qingxue, who were outside the square, were rolling on the ground laughing, and tears were coming out. This is so King satisfying. Haha. This kid has been so arrogant since he entered the imperial city, calling everyone a lowly commoner and a stray dog. He's so much more arrogant than us. He deserves it. He really deserves it. Who asked him to be so arrogant? Even when we were young and frivolous, we weren't as arrogant as him when we became Tier 3 alchemists. Many master alchemists clapped their hands and cheered in secret. Ning Danqing maintained that strange posture for a full 15 minutes. Not 1 second more, not 1 second less, and not 1 second more. His battle aura surged violently, and his killing intent soared to the sky. Lin Shun, just you wait. Ning Danqing roared in front of everyone in the square. Then, he stepped into the air and left the square angrily. This scene scared the crowd so much that their faces changed. Walking on air? Could it be a Heaven Dipper realm expert? Apart from being surprised, everyone was curious as to who could make this Heaven realm expert do such a thing. Who was this Lin Shun? Right at this moment, a high-ranking official walked up the stage and announced loudly, "Today, this is a day worth remembering. Today, our dynasty's emperor was saved by the alchemy grandmaster, Mr. Lin Shun. The dragon's life has been revived, and he reigns over the world. Today, the world shall be pardoned, and the granaries shall be open to provide aid to the world. Contestant, Mr. Ning Danqing has lost to Mr. Lin Shun. According to the rules of the competition, Ning Danqing has completed the loser's punishment. This is hereby announced." Once this announcement was made, the entire square was in an uproar. That young prodigy who stepped into the air earlier was actually an alchemy master. Some of the experts from the various sects knew clearly that the Sky Tiger Dynasty's emperor was poisoned. Even a Tier 5 alchemist wouldn't have much confidence in curing him. The other person who defeated Mr. Lin Shun was probably even more shocking. Even a Tier 5 alchemy master couldn't do it, but he actually did it. So this is the punishment for losing the competition. No wonder that young man would do such a thing. At such a young age, he is already at the 9th level of the Earth Realm, and is also an alchemy master. Too terrifying. TSK. The one who is even more terrifying is that Lin Shun, right? He actually defeated that absolute prodigy who stepped into the air and healed the Sky Tiger Dynasty's emperor. All the experts had different opinions and were filled with astonishment and curiosity towards Lin Chen's name. Outside the square, in Lin Chen's group, Ning Qingxian suddenly spoke with a serious tone. "Mr. Lin Chen, I have something to discuss with you. Please follow me." Lin Chen was startled and casually smiled. Could it be that young lady Ning Qingxian has some reward for me? Just nice. I have something to discuss with you. Ning Qingxiue's mischievous eyes moved around and was about to follow the two of them curiously. However, Ning Qingxian threw down an order, "Don't follow." Ning Qingxue had no choice but to leave while feeling wronged. Before Ning Qingxue left, she glared at Lin Shun fiercely, as though she felt that it was because of him that her elder sister didn't bring her along. Chapter 158. Moon Pavilion Lake. The surface of the lake sparkled. This was a quiet valley outside the imperial city. Lin Shun and Ning Qingxian, whose face was hidden, stood in a pavilion by the lake. Now, Lin Shun was a little panicked and even wanted to run away. "Come on." Ning Qingxuan's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of expectation under the veil. "Miss Ning Qingxian, this is not good." Lin Shun swallowed his saliva, and his breathing became heavy. "That's not what you said at the beginning. Are you going back on your words?" The beautiful woman's question made me hesitate, so I said awkwardly, "I'm not sure." "Miss Ning Qingxian, I am a man of principles." "This doesn't conflict with your principles, does it? It is right and proper to keep your promise." Seeing that the beauty did not intend to let him go, Lin Shen's heart beat faster and faster. What to do? If he did that, his reputation as a great commander would be ruined. But if he did not do it, then he would be going back on his words. This was not fair to her. Then I will do it. Lin Shun gritted his teeth and put in the jade box with the punishment slip. Yes, that's right. Lin Shun did not pass the competition at the beginning. Ning Qingxian looked for Lin Chun to tell him this. Back then, the two of them had set up a competition to heal Xing Tianhu and restore his original cultivation base at the same time. But Xing Tianhu was in the late stage of Heaven Dipper realm before he was poisoned. After the detoxification, because of a part of the poison, his cultivation regressed to the middle stage of Heaven Dipper realm. Yes, strictly speaking, Lin Shun could not be considered to have one. Lin Shun reached his hand into the jade box and felt around, feeling uneasy. If he were to draw a punishment that was too shocking, his ending would not be any better than Ning Donqing's. What's going on? Lin Shun felt around and found that there was only a punishment slip in the jade box. He looked up at Ning Qingxian in shock. The latter was looking at him with an elegant and ethereal smile. Only one? This little fairy couldn't be thinking of messing with me, right? If she had asked me to draw Ning Donqing's card, would I really have to commit suicide on the spot? Lin Shen hesitated for a moment, but on second thought, Ning Qingxian had no reason to let him pick that card. As if he had found some confidence in his heart, Lin Shen pulled out the only punishment stick in the jade box. After taking it out, the punishment tag clearly wrote, "Please give Miss Ning Qingxian a present for her coming of age." Looking at the lot, Lin Shen stood there in a daze. Lin Shen looked at Ning Qingxian in disbelief. She turned to stare at the sparkling surface of the lake. Her beautiful eyes were filled with ripples as she softly muttered to herself, "The day after tomorrow is my 20th coming of age ceremony. in my family. When I reach the age of 20, I have to completely give up my personal freedom and contribute everything to the family. Therefore, this last day will be the last time I have freedom. Mr. Lin Shun, you might be my only friend outside of the family. You are very unique. I want to talk to you about my matters and listen to your mental cultivation method. I wonder if you would be willing to listen. That night, under the moonlight at the pavilion lake, the young man and the beautiful woman looked at each other. Between their eyes, there was a pure and simple light. I would like to hear the details. Hearing Lin Chen's answer, Ning Qingxian slowly closed her eyes. Her ethereal voice sounded softly and gracefully. When the chaos was born, heaven and earth gave birth to an eternal sacred fire. The sacred fire had the power to create and destroy the world. At that time, there was the first batch of humans who could bathe in the sacred fire and receive the baptism of the sacred fire. Their physique, talent, and battle aura would all transform beyond that of ordinary humans. And in each family that received the baptism of the sacred fire, the one with the highest talent would be called the saint or saintess. I am one of the saintesses of the Ning family, an ancient family in the spiritual state. Speaking of this, Ning Qingshuan's usually elegant and refined expression showed a trace of complexity and struggle. I am different from the saintesses of the ancient families. My life has already been decided. What kind of person I want to be, what path I want to take, what mental cultivation method and battle aura I want to cultivate, who I want to marry, and which area of the family I want to live in. Ning Qingshuan's jade-like hands clenched as her ethereal voice trembled slightly. I was born envious of mortals. Even if they are poor and ordinary, they are born with freedom. But they were born free. Even though their lives were short, they dared to love and hate, to fight against the world, to fight against fate. Compared to people like me, who don't even have the heart to fight back, mortals are so great and brave. No, it's not like that. You are wrong. Seeing Ning Qingshuan's mood getting lower and lower, Lin Chen interrupted her. Ning Qingxian stared at Lin Shun in surprise. Ning Qingxian stared at him curiously. Mortals are not free. They have more oppression and threats to face. The world is not absolutely fair, but it gives equal opportunities. So what if their lives are predetermined? A person who truly desires freedom will never feel that freedom is too late. On the path of freedom, they will always be free. Lin Chun grabbed Ning Qingshuan's jade-like shoulders with an unprecedentedly serious and solemn expression. You are just willing to accept your fate. As long as you are willing to fight back against fate, you will always be free because you are pursuing the path you desire. Ning Qingxian stared blankly at the young man's serious and tender face. A trace of understanding and light quietly appeared in her heart. At this moment, an angry roar tore through the sky. Roar, roar, roar. The earth trembled. The earth-shattering dragon roar spread throughout the capital of the empire. The domineering dragon aura swept through the clouds for thousands of miles. All the commoners in the empire looked up at the sky. No one was not shocked. No one was not shocked. Under the bright moonlight, 9 enormous true dragons appeared. Their dragon aura was unparalleled, sweeping through the heavens. 5-clawed golden dragon, profound skywood dragon, azure sea dragon, crimson flame red dragon, boundless earth dragon, ancient azure dragon, devouring calamity dragon, meteorite sky dragon, moonlight mist dragon. The 9 dragons were like clouds and rain. They flew neatly above the capital of the empire. They seemed to have traveled through time and space. Descending from the ancient era, what was even more mysterious was that their heads were tied up with golden chains, and 9 dragons were pulling a magnificent palanquin. All the mortals looked up at the miraculous palanquin in disbelief. Just what kind of person was fit to sit inside? 9 dragon palanquin. Who was that young lady? As the emperor, Xing Tianhu stood in the palace and looked up at the 9 dragons. He could only tremble like an ant. It wasn't just the Tianhu dynasty. All the powerful cultivators within 100,000 miles were attracted by the 9 dragons. They all looked in the direction of the Tianhu dynasty in shock. 9 dragon palanquin. Just what kind of supreme being would be able to do such a thing? The underworld? The 24 domains? This was not a height that the secular world could reach. Chapter 159. Fisk is at Ning Dan Xing. There's still a day before my coming-of-age ceremony. How did he get here so quickly? Ning Qingxue gritted her teeth and flew towards Lin Shun and Ning Qingxian. The 9 dragons' palanquin moved forward slowly until it was 10,000 feet above the valley where Lin Shun and Ning Qingxian were. Did your family send us to pick you up? Lin Shun squinted his eyes and looked serious. The 9 dragons carrying the palanquin were second only to his ancient azure dragon. Any one of them could rival a Heaven Star Border Realm Stage 1. Yes, I didn't expect them to come so quickly. I'm sorry for making you listen to some willful words. However, I will remember your advice. Ning Qingxian smiled faintly. Lin Chen frowned and looked at the 9 dragons in the sky. At this moment, 4 slender young men leaped down from the back of the 9 dragons. Ning Zhan from the Ning family is here to pick you up. To avoid any accidents, we have to return to the family in advance. Please understand. The leader was a young man with a war spear. He had a dignified appearance, cold eyes, and a cold face. He wore a golden armor and looked extraordinarily handsome. However, he knelt on one knee respectfully towards Ning Qingxian and cupped his fists. Understand. I still want to stay with my friend for a while. Ning Qingxian nodded calmly, as if she had expected this. Friend? Forgive me for being blunt, but in these 24 regions, no lowly commoner has the right to be friends with you. The young man stood up slowly and glanced at Lin Shen. The heaven and earth spiritual qi instantly turned into a hurricane-like force. It was mixed with a sharp battle qi and fiercely crushed towards Lin Shen. Bang! The entire pavilion was flipped into pieces. Just a glance was more destructive than an Earth Realm cultivator. This young man's strength had reached Heaven Star Border Realm Stage 1. His actual age was only around 25 years old. This terrifying talent was even scarier than the Spirit State's prodigy that Lin Shen encountered in the Evil King's secret realm. Ning Zhan, what are you doing? Ning Qingxian asked coldly. For the first time, she, who had always been elegant and refined, had a trace of anger. Young miss, please don't be angry. I'm just clearing the trash for you. A mortal at the 7th level of the Earth Realm doesn't have the qualifications to stand beside young lady. Ning Zhan said respectfully. Ning Qingshuan's tone became colder. Are you saying that you can disrespect my wishes now? Ning Zhan said indifferently with an expressionless face. I wouldn't dare, but I have the Saint Ruler token with me this time. I must ensure the absolute safety of Mississippi. If necessary, even Mrs. Orders cannot sway my decision. Ning Qingxian held a green jade token with the words Saint Monarch engraved on it, causing Ning Qingshuan's heart to be filled with despair. Her pupils gradually lost their former spirituality and light, leaving behind only a gradually dimming indifference. Could it be that the people nowadays are all mad dogs? The kind that barks when they see each other. Right at this moment, a young man's chuckle echoed. In the crevice, 100 meters away from the pavilion, Lin Shun withdrew his Heaven Dipper battle chi and patted off the dust on his shoulder. He had a calm and composed expression. When Ning Qingxian saw that Lin Shun was fine, she let out a breath of relief and quickly said, Lin Shun, hurry up and leave. Ning Yu, Ning Long, escort the young lady back to the palanquin. Ning Zhan suddenly yelled out, while 2 other Heaven Dipper realm youths stood in front of Ning Qingxian. Ning Zhan, you dare? Ning Qingxian was angered for the first time as she yelled out coldly and asked the 2 Heaven Dipper realm youths to apologize. Apologies, young lady, we have offended you. The 2 of them opened up their arms and formed an indestructible battle chi cube, imprisoning Ning Qingxian. They immediately flew into the air and forcefully brought Ning Qingxian back to the 9 dragons' palanquin. Cousin Ning Zhan, it's this brat. Ning Danxing stared at Lin Chen viciously and resentfully. She wanted to pull out his tendons and skin him alive. So you're the one who humiliated the people of my Ning clan? You seem to be a little stronger than those trash mortals. If you can last under my hands for half an hour, you can leave safely. If you can't, then crawl under my crotch, and I'll spare your dog life. Ning Zhan waved his hand, and a golden barrier covered Lin Chun. It formed an area of a few hundred meters wide and covered everything by the lake. Ning Zhan, what kind of man are you? You bullied your sister who hasn't undergone the baptism of the holy flame, and you want to bully a mortal who is 7 or 8 years younger than you. At this moment, a young girl's voice rang out. Ning Qingxue stood outside the golden barrier and scolded Ning Zhan. Oh, it's young lady Qingxue. I was just about to pick you up. However, you have to clean up some trash first. Ning Zhan's mouth curved into a ferocious and bloodthirsty smile, just as he wanted to see how Lin Chun would react. Lin Chun didn't respond to him at all. His purplish gold pupils had been staring at Ning Qingxian, who was sitting on the 9 Dragons Palace's palanquin from the very beginning. He had seen her every move and her gradually dimming eyes. He held the unique punishment stick and carefully put it into the spirit storage ring. Lin Chun didn't say anything, but his eyes were unprecedentedly calm. I haven't entered the mortal world for a long time. I didn't expect mortals to be so arrogant. It's time to let you wild dogs know who the real master of the spiritual state is. Ning Zhan was so angry that he laughed. He stomped his feet, and the ground shook and cracked in all directions. 10 sharp golden gung blades broke out of the ground and slashed toward Lin Chun along the ground. Rumble. The ground around the lake cracked. Ning Zhan's battle aura had the power to shatter mountains and rivers. It was many times stronger than ordinary Heaven Star Realm cultivators. Post-activated level 2 recharge rune. 50,000 rune energy was consumed. Attack power increased by 240%. Divine Wilderness 9 Arts, Dark Devour. Lin Chun slammed the spinning dark-attributed battle aura onto the ground, shaking the earth and mountains. The dark-attributed battle aura swallowed mountains and rivers. As it spun, it completely swallowed the domineering golden light into nothingness. The aftermath of the two's battle auras shook the entire valley, and cracks began to appear in all directions. Top blue-tier battle technique. No wonder you're so arrogant. Ning Zhan's sneer came from the void. Lin Chun activated his purple gold pupils, and his figure that had escaped into the void suddenly appeared. Rip! The space distorted. Ning Zhan held the tiger-headed golden spear and closed the distance of 1,000 feet in an instant. The tip of the spear spun and stabbed toward Lin Chun's head. A black light shot into the sky. Lin Chun activated the divine Desolate 9 Arts and circulated his fire attribute battle chi. The Black Abyss spear swept out in the opposite direction, and when the two spears collided, the ground beneath Lin Chun's feet instantly shattered into countless pieces. Clang, clang, clang. The spear's shadows danced wildly. The two spears were tit for tat, and streaks of golden flames shot out in all directions. After only a dozen rounds, Lin Chun's arms were still shaken to the point that his bones were bent, and he was forced to retreat step by step. On the other hand, Lin Chun's attacks had no effect on Ning Zhan. Ning Zhan's body was so strong that it didn't seem like a mortal's body. When he activated his battle aura, it was overflowing with colorful lights. Streaks of vibrant, multicolored light spun around his body. This was Lin Chun's first time seeing such an opponent. Chapter 160. That's all you got. Die. Ning Zhan sneered in disdain. The tiger-headed golden spear smashed down from the sky, distorting the space. He wanted to crush Lin Chun's head with one strike. Post-activated level 2 slow rune, consuming 50,000 rune energy points. Activated level 2 recharge rune, consuming 100,000 rune energy points. Attack power increased by 300%. A grayish-white talisman suddenly appeared in the space between the two of them. Ningxian's battle aura and movement paused for a moment. The purple phoenix wings flapped with purple flames. Lin Chen's palms, which had been ready for a long time, suddenly flipped over and slapped in front of Ningxian's breastplate. Thunder explosion, fury of light. The thunder battle aura pierced through the void like electric dragons. The light battle aura turned into a fist-sized energy ball and exploded. The entire valley set off a huge energy storm, illuminating the entire night. This kid can actually perform such a terrifying attack. Ning Danqing, who was watching the battle from the side, had a slight change in expression. He was afraid of Lin Chen. The energy storm dissipated. Lin Chen activated his purple gold eyes and couldn't help but be surprised. In the void, Ningxian was walking in the air. His hair was messy, and the armor on his chest was shattered, revealing faint traces of blood. Light injuries? That's a 300% recharge rune, and it only broke his armor and caused light injuries? Lin Chen frowned. Under the cover of his purple gold eyes, he vaguely saw a stream of energy that he had never seen before flowing through Ningxian's body. It made his life force abnormally strong. Lin Chen, don't fight with him. Ningxian has been baptized by my race's holy fire. You are not his match. Ning Qingxue was burning with anxiety as she reminded Lin Chen. For a mortal, your strength is barely enough. But in front of my race, you are not even an ant. The golden battle aura formed a fierce tiger that was dozens of feet long. Ningxian stood on the golden tiger and sneered from above. Today, I want to see how powerful this body baptized by the holy fire is. Lin Chen suddenly let out a deep roar. His hands pushed out in the air, and a grayish-white light disappeared into the void. The flow of spiritual energy in the space instantly became extremely slow, as if time had slowed down. Ningxian's expression, for the first time, revealed a look of panic. The host has activated the level 2 slow rune, consuming 400,000 runes of energy. Boom! The grayish-white talisman appeared out of nowhere, suppressing the myriad of worlds and absorbing the river of stars. Space was frozen. 400,000 rune energy points. This was the first time Lin Chen had used so much rune energy to activate a characteristic rune. The powerful runic energy made Ningxian unable to even open his mouth to ask for help. Only fear and panic remained in his eyes. What? Ning Danqing's expression suddenly changed. She gritted her teeth and executed her movement technique with all her might. Golden light leaped through space and attacked Lin Chen from behind. Golden tip, heaven-breaking palm. Ning Danqing's cold shout suddenly rang out from behind Lin Chen. A golden light that resembled a sword spun in his palm, furiously stabbing towards Lin Chen's back. Despicable, sneak attacking 2 against 1. Ning Qingxue gritted her teeth as she cursed in her heart. Azure Dragon, come out. Let me see if your holy fire-baptized body can withstand the full force of my Azure Dragon's attack. In the blink of an eye, a section of the Azure Dragon's claw appeared in the void and furiously slapped out, tearing apart Ningxian's battle aura tiger. The dragon's tail swept across the river of stars and smashed towards Ning Danqing, who was trying to sneak attack him. The dragon claw lifted up high and smashed down furiously, crushing towards Ningxian like a violent storm. Bang! An earth-shattering energy storm swept up in the entire valley, and the battle aura barrier that Ningxian had set up earlier was completely shattered. The energy in the entire lake started to evaporate rapidly, and the terrifying energy wave shattered a 1,000-meter-long crack in the ground. Ningxian was beaten 1,000 meters into the ground. His ribs were broken, and his flesh was badly mangled. Even his holy fire-baptized body couldn't withstand the ancient Azure Dragon's fierce attack. The crazy attack lasted for close to 5 breaths before Ningxian broke through the restriction of the rune energy. Hidden Tiger, Soul, Breaking Claw. Ningxian endured his serious injuries and brazenly counterattacked with his palm. When he slightly pushed back the Azure Dragon's claw that was smashing towards him, He fled underground in a panic. A light black shadow. Ning Zhan, who desperately activated his life-saving secret technique, turned into 8 streaks of light and fled to the void outside the valley. The 8 streaks of light merged, and Ning Zhan's figure appeared in the void again. When he looked in Lin Chen's direction, his eyes were filled with shock and confusion. In the void, a huge monster was descending to the world. It was close to 2,000 feet long, shaped like a long snake, and had 5 claws. It had the head of a qilin, the tail of a carp, the horns of a deer, a long beard on its face, and green, jade-like scales. Its dragon eyes emitted a light that could pierce through the stars and the moon. Roar! 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 Sensing that a dragon stronger than them had appeared, the 9 true dragons roared anxiously and angrily. They stared at Lin Chen's ancient azure dragon with enmity. This brat actually conjured an ancient azure dragon out of thin air. Where did he get such a foundation? Ning Zhan covered his wound with a horrified expression. He actually did not detect any signs of it beforehand. Lin Chen was actually hiding an azure dragon with such terrifying battle strength. Most importantly, he used a strange secret technique to seal his battle chi and body. When he used the secret technique, there was no sign at all. There wasn't even any battle chi fluctuation. It was impossible to guard against. Lin Chen stood on the ancient azure dragon's head, holding the black abyss in his hand. His murderous aura was like a dragon, looking down on the world and dominating the 9 provinces. Ning Qingxue covered her red lips with both hands. Her beautiful eyes were full of surprise and shock. On the palanquin, Ning Qingshuan's heart was rippling. Her originally gloomy expression was rekindled with a glimmer of hope. More than 3 months ago, Lin Chen was just a spirit detecting realm below the battle soul realm. Today, less than 4 months later, he actually had the strength to rival a heaven dipper realm cultivator. At this moment, Ning Danqing's scream resounded through the valley. Ah, cousin, my hand. Ning Danqing fell into a huge pit. His right arm was missing. It was smashed into pieces by the ancient azure dragon's slap. It seems that this body baptized by the holy fire can't take a beating very well. Lin Chen's gaze was like a knife as he sneered. The ancient azure dragon spat out a dragon's breath and locked onto Ning Zhan aggressively. Enough, don't fight anymore. At this moment, the wind and clouds changed. An unchanging old man's voice came from the 9 dragons' palanquin. The 9-headed true dragon, who was still uneasy before, immediately became silent when he heard this voice. Elder Shah. Ning Zhan's mouth was bleeding. He stepped into the air and floated up. He cupped his fist towards the palanquin. Ning Zhan, we're only here to take Miss away. This young man has already proven his strength. If you continue to fight, you'll be humiliating yourself. That voice was as calm as water as he spoke. Although Ning Zhan was extremely unwilling, he didn't dare to go against the old man's will. He cupped his fist with trembling hands and said, Yes, Ning Zhan understands. Young man, this azure dragon is of the same origin as you. It wasn't raised or tamed by you. You've already proven your strength. We won't make things difficult for you anymore. However, Mrs. Journey home cannot be delayed. If you have any problems, you can look for the Ning family in the spirit state. Of course, that's under the premise that you can grow to this height. The old man's voice traveled into Lin Chen's ears. He could tell that Lin Chen's ancient azure dragon was of the same origin as him. Its strength was far beyond Ning Zhan's. He was at least a Heaven Dipper Realm Stage 6 powerhouse. Chapter 161. Senior, don't worry. I will definitely go to that place. Putting away the Dark Abyss spear, Lin Chen cupped his fists at the palanquin in the sky. Then, he jumped down from the ancient azure dragon and landed outside the valley, in front of Ning Qingxue. Sister Qingxue, please give this to Ning Qingxian. Lin Chen took out the punishment stick that Ning Qingxian gave him and handed it to Ning Qingxue. Qingxue, come up. The family elders have orders. I don't have time to waste with you. Ning Qingxue floated up and slowly flew towards the palanquin. Before she left, Ning Qingxue yelled seriously, Lin Shun, you must come to the Ning family. My sister and I will be waiting for you. Lin Shun didn't say anything and just nodded at her. Ning Zhan helped Ning dancing up. The ancient azure dragon bared its fangs and roared at them. The two of them looked at Lin Chun unwillingly and flew towards the 9 dragons palanquin. Boom! The 9 dragons flew away from the Sky Tiger dynasty. Lin Chun dashed into the massive pit, collecting all the attribute balls of light in one go. He even took one of the dropped attribute treasure chests. Host received 750,000 metal energy, 880,000 battle aura essence, 120,000 cultivation technique essence, 10,000 mental energy, and 30,000 rune energy. After taking the attribute light balls, Lin Shen looked up at the stars and looked in the direction that Ning Qingxian left. After watching the palanquin leave, he let out a deep breath. The Ning family of the spiritual state. After one night, the Sky Tiger dynasty had different opinions about the 9 dragons palanquin. Lin Shen returned to the dynasty and met with Xing Tianhu to implement Ning Qingshuan's plan. Saving Xing Tianhu was only so that he could better protect the people and prevent them from suffering too much. Lin Shen declared to Xing Tianhu and the officials that if they couldn't do it, he would personally kill Xing Tianhu and destroy their dynasty. No one in the dynasty dared to go against Lin Chen's wishes. Everyone knew that the great battle last night outside the dynasty was caused by this seemingly immature youth. After finishing all this, Lin Chen immediately left the Nether Realm and returned to the Desolate Region branch. In one of the boudoirs of the 9 dragons palanquin, the beautiful woman slowly opened the slip of paper. There were only 2 lines of words on it. Please give Miss Ning Qingxian a coming-of-age gift. I will turn you into a mortal. A purple veil fell down, and the woman's ethereal and graceful laughter echoed in the boudoir. Then I'll wait for you. Wasteland Heavenly Song Academy. Old Baldy, who was sitting cross-legged in the void, suddenly opened his eyes. A sharp light flashed through his eyes. Who dares to barge into my Heavenly Song Academy? Purple flames streaked across the horizon with extreme speed, causing Old Baldy to be on guard. Old Baldy, don't tell me that you can't even recognize your own student? The youth's chuckle echoed through the horizon. With a flap of the purple phoenix wings, Lin Chen floated in the air in front of Old Baldy with a trace of ridicule hanging on his mouth. Lin Chen, good lad, why are you back? You broke through to the 7th level of the Earth Realm. Old Baldy had an ecstatic expression. When he sized up Lin Chen, he realized that Lin Chen actually gave him a faint sense of danger. It seems like you have reaped quite a lot from this trip. Just in time, someone is here to challenge us. You came back just in time. Old Vulture chuckled, and Mr. Lin also came to a sudden realization, revealing a coquettish smile of tacit understanding. Oh my, someone actually dares to challenge our Desolate Region branch? Old Baldy, don't worry. I will let him go. He's quite strong. College Plaza. Over a dozen figures stood still while 2 Desolate Region branches students were still lying in a pool of blood. With this lousy place, they are able to obtain 15 spots for the main college assessment. No one will believe it, even if I tell them. This is the Desolate Region branch that defeated the Heaven Region branch? Is this for real? Why isn't there anyone who can withstand a single move from me? A youth in embroidered clothes who was carrying a saber mocked while hundreds of Inner Institute seniors were filled with righteous indignation. They heard from Old Baldy that this group of people was their Desolate Region branch's esteemed guests and didn't dare to neglect them. They didn't expect that not only did they not appreciate the kindness, they even dared to injure their Inner Institute members. Sai, what is the Heaven Region branch? Our Nether region is the number 1 among the 24 regions branches this year. I say, even if trash like you go to the main college to participate in the assessment, you will just be sending yourselves to your deaths. Why don't you just give us spots to our Nether region branch? In the future, our senior brother Meng Xingchen will be able to visit your branch as a guest and pamper your female students. Ha ha ha. A group of young men and women insulted the inner institute seniors with filthy words. Everyone was gnashing their teeth in anger, but they didn't dare to say anything. They clearly saw the strength of these fellows. Hong Fei, who was ranked 25th and 29th in the inner institute, and senior brother Xing Tianhun couldn't even withstand 2 moves from these fellows. They were the geniuses from the Nether Region branch. They were passing by the desolate region to participate in the main college assessment, so they wanted to see what kind of crouching tigers and hidden dragons were hidden in the desolate region branch that had defeated the heaven region branch. What the F***CK is Lin Chun from the desolate region. How dare he claim to be the number 1 of the 24 regions? What bullshit is he spouting? He's just a bunch of cowards. If you have the ability, ask him to come out and fight with our senior brother Meng Xingchen. 2 young geniuses spat on the ground in disdain and sneered. I won't allow you to insult junior brother Lin Chun. An icy sword chi slashed through the air. The 2 young geniuses focused their eyes and condensed earthy, yellow battle chi into their palms. With a slap, the airflow collapsed and turned into 2 ferocious claws. The battle chi of the 2 sides collided and exploded. The beauty slowly walked over with her long and slender legs. Her eyebrows were curved, and her appearance was beautiful. She had a heavenly fragrance, and her light blue dress perfectly outlined her exquisite and voluptuous figure. She held a 3-foot-long sword in her hand, and her face was as cold as frost as she swept her gaze over the dozen people. Wow, a beauty is here. The young man, who was wearing a brocade robe and carrying a blade on his back, whistled and greedily looked at the beautiful woman's exquisite body. You can doubt us, but you're not allowed to insult junior brother Lin Chun. Also, this is not the place to fight. If you want to fight, follow me to the arena. The beauty was Su Gang, who had acted together with Lin Chun before. After 4 months of transformation, she was now ranked in the top 20 of the Inner Institute. Her true strength was at the level of the top 10. Come, it's rare to have a chance to fight with such a beauty. Move aside, I'll go first. The young man in brocade laughed evilly and followed closely behind. Everyone looked at each other. Some ran to inform the elders, while others followed them to the arena. At the arena, more and more Inner Institute seniors gathered, and everyone was shouting in support of Su Gang. On the arena of the ranking competition, Su Gang and the young man in brocade stood opposite each other. Beauty, why don't you do it with me? I, Yu Hong, am famous for treating women well. The young man in brocade laughed evilly. Before he could finish, the sound of sword being unsheathed was heard. Chapter 162. Clang. Without saying a word, Su Gang suddenly pulled out her sword. 10 ice blue battle chi swords slashed open a path of ice and snow. The cold sword chi froze the air and slashed towards Yu Hong. Such a small trick. Yu Hong used his hand as a sword and lightly slashed out. A blood-red sword light swallowed the light and destroyed Su Gang's sword shadows. Chi. Unexpectedly, a cold air rose from Yu Hong's feet and instantly froze his legs. The tip of the sword was sharp. Su Gang's figure quietly appeared behind him and stabbed towards his back. Clang! The sound of metal clashing rang out. Yu Hong had unsheathed his sword and blocked Su Gang's sword, as if it had a mind of its own. Little beauty, you have some skills. Then I won't let you win. Yu Hong laughed evilly and waved his sword wildly. His sword technique was like a tidal wave as it slashed towards Su Gang. In just one exchange, Su Gang was instantly suppressed. Saber light and sword shadows. Each saber light was mixed with killing intent. Like a violent storm, one saber strike after another, Su Lan did not even have the strength to fight back after a few dozen rounds. Taking advantage of the suppression, Yu Hong reached out his hand and actually grabbed towards Su Gang's full breasts. Everyone cursed him in their hearts for being shameless. Su Gang clenched her teeth and twisted her waist. barely dodging his demonic palm. But immediately after, his sword technique became even more violent and actually reached towards her thigh for the second time. Ha ha, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yu Hong laughed lewdly as his eyes flashed with a strong desire to possess. Su Gang's face instantly became colder. She forcefully retreated and turned around to dodge Yu Hong's palm. At the same time, the sword light sent her flying along with her sword. This kind of strength made all the seniors suck in a breath of cold air. This Yu Hong from the Nether Region branch was not any weaker than Ling Tianyu. Sister, a beautiful figure rushed onto the stage and supported Su Gang, who was bleeding from the corner of her mouth. It was the twin sister, Su Lan. Oh my God, it's a pair of twin beauties. This is too surprising, too surprising. I want both of them this time. Yu Hong laughed maniacally and rushed towards the two sisters. Su Lan's beautiful eyes flickered with light. She was determined to protect her sister with her life. Due to the fact that almost all of the inner courtyard's top 20 seniors were no longer around, and the incident happened so suddenly, everyone could only watch as the two sisters were about to fall into Yu Hong's evil hands. Rip! Boom! A sonic boom that sounded like a knife cutting through the air suddenly rang out, and a blurry afterimage appeared in the arena like a ghost. No one in the arena was able to detect it in advance. The afterimage flashed in front of Yu Hong, and from the bottom to the top, he kicked Yu Hong's chin, instantly breaking his bones and teeth. Along with the sound of his bones breaking, the young man's cold laugh was heard. What do you mean by surprise? His palm pressed down on the top of Yu Hong's head, and the young man slapped Yu Hong back to his original position, forcing him to stand still. Yu Hong suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with shock and fear. He realized that both his battle chi and his body were so slow that he could barely circulate them. The other geniuses of the Underworld branch were also in a similar situation as Yu Hong. Their battle auras and bodies were as slow as tortoises, and they could barely move normally. The Su sisters stared blankly at the silver-robed young man in front of them. His silver robes fluttered in the wind, and his waist was like a spear. His figure was slender, and his sharp eyes seemed to contain the sea of stars. His childish face revealed a cold and domineering aura, and the corners of his mouth faintly curved into a devilish and wild smile. When that familiar face appeared, the two sisters felt incomparably at ease and a sense of security that they had never felt before. Everyone in the arena was stunned, and a familiar feeling of shock welled up in their hearts. The young man grabbed Yu Hong's arm and smashed him into the ground like a hammer, smashing the entire arena into pieces. What do you mean by surprise? The young man's cold shout resounded throughout the entire arena. Lifting his foot, the young man crushed Yu Hong's arm with one stomp and kicked him in the direction of the Underworld branch like a rubber ball. The young man rolled up his sleeves and jumped off the arena. Everyone in the Underworld branch was unable to move. What do you mean by a F***king surprise? Slap, 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 slap. The young man ruthlessly sent a few young geniuses flying. What do you mean by a F***king surprise? Lin Shen raised his hand and slapped again. Bang, bang, bang. Everyone was sent flying on the spot. Two of the weaker ones were slapped on the spot, and their necks were broken. After sending everyone flying, the young man turned around and faced all the seniors with a smile. Everyone, tell them what a surprise is. The senior students looked at each other and laughed heartily. The surprise is that our senior Lin Shun is back. The surprise is that the king of singles is the most handsome. F***CK. There's a traitor among us. Beat him up. Lin Shun and all the seniors laughed heartily. Then, he walked towards Su Lan and her sister, stared at Su Lan, and asked with a rare seriousness, "Are you okay?" Looking at his serious and concerned face, the sisters' pretty faces couldn't help but blush. Why did this guy become so serious after going out for a while? They weren't used to it for a while. As if he had seen through the thoughts of the two ladies, Lin Chun immediately said in a serious tone, You're not talking. Looks like you're seriously injured. Look at your swollen breasts. My heart hurts just looking at them. Senior Sulan, let me help you rub them. Hey, Sulan, why are you kicking me? I have a gun. Be careful. Oh my God, it hurts. Just as the beautiful Sulan's face was red with anger and she was punching and kicking this hooligan, a dignified old man's angry voice rang out. How dare you injure a student of my Nether Region branch? Just as he finished speaking, a huge battle aura hand fell from the sky, containing the power to crush mountains and meteorites. It pierced through the clouds and slapped towards Lin Chun. The sisters' pretty faces turned pale. This was a Heaven Star Border Cultivator's attack. Lin Chun, run. Sulan anxiously pushed Lin Chun away and rushed towards the battle aura hand. Loner, don't. Sulan's pretty face was pale. Lin Chun shook his head and laughed. After beating up the little mad dog, the old mad dog also ran out. But isn't this girl too silly to the point of being cute? The purple phoenix wings suddenly spread out. Lin Chun soared into the sky and hugged Sulan. He flipped one of his hands, and a white light condensed into a round energy ball in his palm. He threw it out angrily. Host consumed 10,000 rune energy to activate level 2 charging rune. Attack increased by 200%. Light's fury. The white light energy ball and the battle aura hand collided. An energy explosion swept out in all directions and set off in the sky of the arena. Fortunately, the explosion was high enough and didn't hurt the students. The energy explosion turned into scattered light spots and dotted the side of Lin Chen's face. Sulan, who was in the young man's arms, couldn't help but stare blankly. All the inner court seniors were dumbfounded. Lin Chun actually took the attack of a Heaven Star Border Cultivator head-on. Could it be that in just a few short months, he had already grown to the Heaven Star Border realm? Chapter 163. Two old men, one in black and one in white, stepped on the air and hovered in midair. The black-robed old man's eyes were filled with disbelief. How is this possible? Isn't this kid at the 7th level of the Earth realm? How is it possible for him to receive this old man's attack? This kid's cultivation technique and combat skills are very strange. Be careful. The white-robed old man squinted his eyes. Just like Baldy, he actually felt an indistinct sense of danger from Lin Chun. All right. We are all on the same side. What is there to fight about? As the clouds dispersed, Baldy sat on a magic cloud and hovered in the sky above the arena. He lazily cast a glance at the two old men. Old Baldy, we brought our students to visit your college as guests. Is this how you treat our students? The white-robed old man put on a fake smile and let out a sinister laugh. Aha, this is something that everyone is well aware of, so there's no need for you to speak nonsense. Baldy drank a mouthful of wine and said indifferently, This old Baldy, he only came out after our students were beaten up. He is truly a good-for-nothing. The black-robed old man gritted his teeth, but he didn't expect his own students to humiliate the seniors of the Desolate Region Branch Institute. Lin Chen, how can you be so rude to your guests? After this, you will go to the disciplinary hall and receive 300 beatings. There is no room for error. Baldy pretended to berate sternly while Lin Chun immediately cried out in grievance. The students didn't. These seniors from the other branches wanted to know what a surprise is. I merely explained the meaning and position of a surprise to them. I didn't treat them rudely. If you don't believe me, you can ask everyone here. Lin Chun and Baldy echoed each other, causing the black and white elders to grit their teeth and sneer. Old Baldy, you don't have to put on an act. Since your place doesn't welcome us, then we will meet during the assessment. The black and white elders waved their hands. Those people that were sent flying by Lin Chun were enveloped by battle chi and floated up. Among them, there was a handsome young man in white robes who stared maliciously at Lin Chun. Lin Chun narrowed his eyes. This person was the strongest student in the Nether Domains branch. He must be that Meng Xingchen. However, under the sneak attack of Lin Chen's delaying rune, none of them could move. Lin Chen's slap was no joke. It even broke several of his teeth. Sigh, why you all have to be like this? It's fine if there are some sparks between the younger generation. Since that's the case, I won't send you off. Bald Elder looked like he was sighing, but in reality, he was chasing him away. The two old men's faces twitched violently. They snorted coldly, flicked their sleeves, and left. Seeing the two old men leave, the seniors in the arena cheered excitedly. How long are you going to hug me for? The beauty's blushing and angry cheeks reminded a certain someone of Sue Lan's existence. He smiled embarrassedly and landed back on the ground. Sue Lan hurriedly ran back to her sister's side, and a certain Lin even clicked his tongue in praise. What a good figure. When Sue Lan heard this, her charming face turned red. She turned around and pretended to be fierce as she rolled her eyes at him. All right, little fellow, I'll bring you to meet your class 66 first. Bald Elder yawned and said with a lazy smile. Lin Shun spread his purple phoenix wings and flew into the sky. He nodded and said with a smile, just in time. I also miss those guys. I'll have to trouble Bald Elder to lead the way. Little fellow, you didn't show off at all. The moment you came back, you let this old man see a good show. Ha ha ha. Bald Elder patted Lin Chen's shoulder with satisfaction and waved his hand. You two lasses should come as well. After all, you two have been assigned to Class 66. Bald Elder brought Lin Shun and the two girls into the clouds, heading toward a mountain peak that was located very deep within the academy. Branch Academy, Heavenly Bridge Mountain. Inside a secret room, many seniors of the inner court were gathered. Why can they take up 5 spots without putting in any effort? We don't accept this. That's right. Class 66 and Big Brother Lin Shun were the ones who defeated those sons of B*** cheese. Why are you guys getting involved? What do you mean we're still young and have a chance? F***CKU. Do we have to give you the chance just because you're young? Do you think we're stupid? Inside the secret room, many seniors of the inner court and the students of Class 66 were arguing fiercely. In the team competition with the Tianyu branch, the Wasteland branch obtained 15 spots. However, the distribution of the spots was still not balanced. Class 66 hoped to obtain 10 spots, but many instructors and elders of the inner court believe that the opportunity should be given to the seniors who had the most potential and strength. After a round of argument, they still couldn't decide on the spots. Although the seniors respected Lin Shun, the opportunity to participate in the exam of the main academy was hard to come by. If they could enter the main academy, they would soar into the sky and gain a foothold in the spiritual state. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so no one wanted to let it go. At this moment, the door of the secret room was kicked open. What's there to argue about? It's such a simple question. Of course it's about who's more handsome. Oh no, who's stronger? Everyone looked over and saw the silver-robed young man striding into the secret room. Everyone in Class 66 was ecstatic. Big Brother Lin Shun, the class monitor is back. Now that the class monitor is back, let's see how you guys can suppress Class 66. The morale of the students of Class 66 immediately changed, and the seniors and elders scratched their heads awkwardly. Why are you guys in such a hurry? Since no one has come to a conclusion, I suggest that we hold a competition in half a month. We, Class 66, will fight against you seniors. The winner will take the spot, and the loser will have nothing to say. Lin Chen's words made the seniors happy. Even the instructors of the inner court couldn't figure out what was going on. Big Brother Lin Shun, if it's a one-on-one fight, there are many people in our class who are no match for them. At this moment, Ying Liang came over and whispered, if you can't beat them, then you can't beat them. If you don't have the strength, then you shouldn't participate in the main school's assessment. Isn't this a matter of course? Lin Shun smiled mysteriously. Everyone in Class 66 was confused. Why wasn't the class monitor helping them this time? Weren't they united against outsiders previously? Some of the seniors of the inner court were grateful to Lin Shun, and the instructors praised Lin Shun profusely, saying that he was righteous and considerate. Behind Juanhao? Lin Shun looked around and realized that Bai Juanhao and Shengwan Bihan were also here. Junior Juanhao and Junior Shengwan Bihan passed the assessment and entered the inner court 2 months ago. They took the initiative to come to our class 66. Yu Linlin explained to Lin Shan with a smile. I see. Since you're here, then it's easy. Class 66, follow me back to the classroom. Everyone will see you in half a month. Lin Shan waved his hand and led class 66 out of the secret room. At the peak of Ling Yu Mountain, in a magnificent classroom, Lin Shan stood on the podium and faced the entire class. Although there were doubts in everyone's eyes, almost everyone believed that Lin Shan wouldn't do anything to harm them. Not bad. None of you are going to ask me why I want to fight with them in the one-on-one arena. Lin Shan smiled mockingly, and the entire class burst into laughter. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.